Yes, hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. This is AIPMT-III discussion, and first we'll cover the geography and environment section. So we are continuing the different sections of geography and different aspects of geography part of your prelims examination, and these MCQs are being helpful to all of you. You can share with your friends also. Do register for these AIPMTs and understand where you stand in the competition. Why? Because this is competitive examination. And to cross that barrier of cutoff marks, you need to understand the difficulty level of the question paper and where you stand in the competition by getting All India rank. Okay, so without any delay, let's start first the geography section. First question, it is related to statement 1, statement 2. And these type of questions are generally concept based questions, wherein in first part they will ask the kind of, let's say, impact or effect, and in the first part they will talk about the cause. So cause and effect relationship or assertion reason type of questions, right? So what this question is saying here, climatology part, the winter season is the season of least tropical cyclone activity in India. That is true. Winter season is from December to, we can say that, February, if you talk about specific winter season. And we know that the cyclone or tropical cyclone season, there are two seasons in India, and these two seasons are pre-monsoon season and post-monsoon season. ऐसे हम divide कर सकते हैं, ठीक है? तो जैसे हम pre-monsoon के लिए बोल सकते हैं March, April and May, and post-monsoon if you see, it is September, October and November, ठीक है? So these are the two seasons of tropical cyclones being formed in Indian Ocean, especially North Indian Ocean region. Now, why we are saying that winter season is of least tropical cyclone activity? Because intertropical convergence zones shift to the south in the cold weather season. That is true. ITCZ shifts to the south, that is, it is moving towards, we can say, Tropic of Capricorn, and that's why the temperature, sea surface temperatures in the North Indian Oceans are not that much warmer so as to generate these tropical cyclone, one of the precondition for development and intensification of these cyclones. So we can say this statement 2 is correct explanation of statement 1, and that's why A is the correct answer for this question, right? Now let's talk about next question. Yes, Sakshgam Valley is situated to. Recently it was in news because China is building one highway in Sakshgam Valley. This particular region is basically a part of India, Gilgit-Baltistan region, but it was, let's say, gifted by Pakistan to China in past. So basically it is located northwest of Siachen Glacier. Now if you see the map also, you will find the location. In past, UPSC has asked questions like this, like location of Siachen Glacier they have asked. So that's why we are covering such type of, let's say, locations in Ladakh region. So in that map you can see, this is, we can say, location of Siachen Glacier, and the PYQ if you see, it is located north of Nubra Valley. Nubra River Valley is located here in past. Now this is, we can say that, Baltistan, this is Gilgit region. So this is located, this is Sakshgam Valley, okay? You can see territory ceded by Pakistan to China. Sakshgam Valley, it is north of Baltistan region. ऐसे हम याद रख सकते हैं इसको, all right? Now coming back to the questions. Next question. Yes, consider the following statements. Now these two tiger reserves or protected areas were in news. Ratapani Tiger Reserve. So teak is the main tree species of Ratapani Tiger Reserve. Now if we see in general also in India, the majority of, let's say, protected areas or forest reserves, or we can say that vegetation type is, we can say, deciduous type, and one of the major tree species is teak. So one can even assume that that is true, ठीक है? ऐसे हम लॉजिक जरूर यूज कर सकते हैं, एंड मोस्ट प्रोबेबली आपका प्रोबेबिलिटी है कि वो सही आ जाएगा. देन गुरु घासीदास तमोर पिंगला टाइगर रिजर्व, it was recently declared. This is tiger reserve in Chhattisgarh, right? Northern part of Chhattisgarh. And yes, it is connected to Palamu Tiger Reserve to the east in Jharkhand. and बांधवगढ़ टाइगर रिजर्व इन एमपी टू द वेस्ट. तो ये डायरेक्शंस यहाँ पर गलत दिए हैं. वन कैन यूज द लॉजिक ऑल्सो बिकॉज यू ऑलरेडी स्टडी अबाउट गुरु घासीदास नेशनल पार्क, देयर लोकेशंस. ठीक है, सो वी कैन से दिस इज इनकरेक्ट. One only is the correct answer for this one. All right. Now, next, how many of the above Caucasian countries share the boundary with Caspian Sea? Caucasian countries means where the Caucasus mountains are located. Okay, Greater Caucasus, Lesser Caucasus. Generally, the countries like we talk about is Azerbaijan or Georgia and Armenia. These are the locations. They are sandwiched between Black Sea on the west and Caspian Sea on the east. So recently there was COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan. ठीक है, तो उस वजह से आपको लोकेशंस भी पता होने चाहिए. It is located on the bank of, we can say, or the coast of Caspian Sea, Baku, Azerbaijan. So one can let's say eliminate that part. Armenia is landlocked country. Armenia, Azerbaijan conflict आपको पता है, right? Nagorno Karabakh region, already UPSC has asked in the places in news part in prelims examination, so one can eliminate that. Then Georgia is on this side, western side, having border with Black Sea. ठीक है, तो ये भी incorrect है. Only one is, we can say, correct answer here. Let me show that to you on the map also. ठीक है, ताकि आपको और ज़्यादा क्लैरिटी भी रहेगी. Look at this. Okay, so this is Azerbaijan, Baku on this Caspian Sea side. Armenia is landlocked. Georgia is having border with Black Sea on this side. All right, coming back to questions. Let's talk about next question. Excuse me. Now, how many of the above statements are correct? Okay, so Parana River falls into Atlantic Ocean. Parana River is the second longest river of South America. ठीक है, and it originates in Brazil, then flows along the border between, we can say, Brazil and Paraguay. Thereafter, it forms the boundary between Paraguay and, we can say, that the Argentina. Thereafter, it meets the Paraguay River, then flows into the Argentina. It meets Uruguay River when it is forming the Rio de la Plata River and then enters into Atlantic Ocean. So this is correct statement. The Rio Grande River falls into Gulf of Mexico. That is also true. Rio Grande River originates in USA and then forms the boundary between USA and Mexico and then drains into, we can say, Gulf of Mexico. This one is also correct. Lake Chad is mainly fed by Niger River. Now this is incorrect. Okay, Lake Chad is a river, let's say, fed by Chari River. ठीक है, Chari River is the river that is major, we can say, that river feeding Lake Chad, and its area is basically spread over 4 countries. Lake Chad, we can expect question. Its area is shrinking because of climate change and other activities, human activities. ठीक है, तो Chad itself is a country. Then second, we can say Niger, then Nigeria and Cameroon. ठीक है, so these are the 4 countries where the area of Lake Chad is lying. So first 2 are correct statements, so only 2 is the correct answer for this question. All right, moving on. Yes, again concept based question. Between 45 degree to 65 degree north and south of equator, the rainfall is heavier on the western margins of the continents and it goes on decreasing towards the east. That is true. What is the reason for this? We know that wet continental, British type of climate, we can say that British type of climate is observed along the western margins of continents in these, we can say that latitudes, and the reason is, we can say that the all year westerlies, onshore westerlies, which are bringing warmer temperatures, and along with that we can say that warm ocean currents. ठीक है, warm ocean currents like North Atlantic drift. So they are bringing warmer temperatures, moisture. So we can say that moderate temperatures are there, moderate conditions. Western coast in the mid latitudes are mainly washed by cold currents. Now this is also true. Okay, western coast in mid latitude means around 30 to 40, we can say that north and south. So here due to upwelling, the cold currents are emerging, that's why there is a desert formation. Like we can say that, pardon me. So a Canaries current is, let's say, responsible for formation of Sahara Desert, or we can say that Benguela cold current is responsible for formation of Namib Desert, or Humboldt or Peru current is responsible for formation of Atacama Desert in South America, or California current in Mojave Desert in, we can say, North America, USA. So both statements are correct independently. They are not becoming reason for, let's say, explanation of each other, or statement 2 is not explaining statement 1. So B is the correct answer here, right? Which of the following is correct sequence of deposition of alluvium in the North Indian plains? So we know Himalayan rivers are bringing alluvium with them and they are depositing. Nature of deposits is different according to, we can say, the distance when these rivers are depositing from, we can say that foothills of Himalayas. And the appropriate, we can say that sequence is, first of all, Bhabar is there, which are, we can say, coarser deposits, like we can say large pebbles and boulders. Then the river is basically disappearing in Bhabar, then re-emerging in Tarai, second one. Then we can talk about is the older alluvium, a little bit away from the, we can say, banks of the rivers, and the newer alluvium, Khadar, is deposited every year through annual floods. So we can say A is the correct sequence here, right? A is the correct sequence. Moving on, regarding the volcanoes which were recently in news. Now, Kilu volcano is a stratovolcano located in Hawaiian Islands. Now, if you know that what type of volcanic eruption happens in Hawaiian Island, then you can eliminate this statement. How? In Hawaiian Islands, which type of, let's say, volcanoes are formed? Shield volcanoes. Okay. And they are having, we can say that, fluid lava. Okay. It's not viscous. Stratovolcano is formed because of viscous lava, we can say. So this is incorrect. Now, Mount Lewatobi Laki, located in Indonesia, is a shield volcano. ऐसे statement बोल रहा है. ठीक है? Indonesia. Now we know that it is located along the convergent plate boundary or along the ring of fire. So we can understand that it is not going to form the shield volcano. Rather, it is a stratovolcano. So this statement is also incorrect. Both statements are incorrect. So neither 1 nor 2. D is the correct answer. Okay? All right. Very simple. Discontinuities in the inner earth and layers separated. So in general, we should understand that what kind of discontinuities are there in the interior of the earth between different structures. Like we can talk about first the crust. So upper crust, lower crust. So what we have is, first of all, Conrad discontinuity. Right. Let me also show you the diagram. Conrad discontinuity separates the upper crust and lower crust, we can say. Thereafter comes the crust and mantle boundary. So that is, let's say, separated by Mohoric. Okay? Mohoric. Between, we can say that, crust and mantle. Between upper mantle and lower mantle, we have Rapiti. Thereafter, mantle core boundary is Gutenberg, and outer and inner core boundary is Lehmann. So remember any kind of trick, CMRGL. ऐसे आप याद रखिए, CMRGL. ठीक है, short form. Now look at the, so Mohoric discontinuity. So crust and upper mantle, we can say this is correctly matched. Crust and mantle boundary. Then Conrad discontinuity, upper crust and lower crust. This is also correct. Gutenberg discontinuity, outer core and inner core. No, this is basically between the core and mantle. So we can say this is incorrect. Only 2 pairs are correctly matched. So have a clarity on this. Remember, it can be asked in prelims examination. Now, Regarding soils, alluvial soil denotes the largest soil group in India. That is true. 43% area is covered by, we can say that, alluvial soils, largely by major Himalayan rivers and peninsular rivers, their basins. And we can say that the coastal areas, especially east coast of India, which is wider coast, and where we have majority of alluvial deposits. So distribution of alluvial soil through India coincides with large river basins. So this is correct and correct explanation too. So we can say A is the correct answer, right? A is the correct answer. Now, Salardi Uyani flats, salt flats, carrying huge reserves of lithium, is located in which of the following? So generally we know that these salt flats are located in South America. It is called as lithium triangle. ठीक है, लिथियम ट्रायंगल कौन से कंट्रीज हैं? चिली, बोलिविया, अर्जेंटीना. Cross section of these three countries, there are huge reserves of lithium, ठीक है, in South America, and this is located in Bolivia. This is located in Bolivia, the major reserves of lithium. All right. Then, how many of the above countries have borders with Mediterranean Sea? Very standard common question that UPSC keeps on asking. Mediterranean Sea, Black Sea or Caspian Sea. They repeat these types of questions. Static part of your mapping section. So, and the region is always in news also. So, if you see which countries, Greece is always there, of course. We can find out that also. Now, Syria is also having border. Thereafter, Croatia is also there, Adriatic Sea, that region. Then Tunisia, northern part of, let's say, African continent. Portugal is on this side of Iberian Peninsula. ठीक है, हम confuse वहाँ पे हो सकता है, maximum जगह पे अगर देखोगे यहाँ पे. ठीक है, Portugal is on this side, that is Atlantic Ocean. And on this side there is Spain. So you should not get confused, this is not having boundary. And we can say Serbia is also landlocked country. ठीक है, तो that is also not having border. So यहाँ पर 4 है, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, only 4. B is the correct answer. ठीक है, B is the correct answer. Let me show that on the map. Yes. So let's say this is Mediterranean Sea, and you can see here that this is Spain. On this side there is Portugal. Okay, this is Strait of Gibraltar. On this side there is Israel. Tunisia is having border. You can see Greece is having border, and then you can see that let's say on this side Syria is there, and let's say Croatia is also there. Serbia is landlocked country. You can see here. Okay, so that's why only 4 is the correct answer there. Now let's talk about next question. Yes, NCERT, basic NCERT question. Which one of the following best describes the term bugyals? Bugyals are basically alpine meadows in the higher reaches of Uttarakhand, right? So many of the people, especially tribal people, they practice there? Transhumance. That is, during, let's say, summer, they move to the upper reaches because these alpine meadows are fresh, nutritious grass available for their cattle or sheep. ठीक है, तो they will move to the upper reaches of these Himalayan mountains, and during winter they will move down. So this practice is called transhumance. D is the correct answer. Next, it is the main, now the description in the paragraph is of a particular crop. Okay, and we have to identify the key information here, and from that we have to eliminate the options also. It is the main food crop of semi-arid areas. Semi-arid areas में हम बोलेंगे कि food crop sugar cane तो नहीं होगा. One is eliminated. Of central and south India, southern India, it is talking. Okay, jowar, barley we can talk about. Although maize is not part of, we can say that generally it is grown in temperate region. ठीक है, तो हम उसको भी eliminate कर सकते हैं. Maharashtra alone produces more than half of the total production of, let's say, this crop in the country. Now one can imagine that barley is not grown that much in Maharashtra, rather it is jowar. इसी से आप eliminate करके you can arrive at the right decision. It is sown in both Kharif and Rabi seasons in southern states, but as a Kharif crop in northern state. And in south of Vindhyachal, it is rain-fed crop, and its yield is very low in this region. ठीक है, तो B is the correct answer. It is jowar crop. Moving on. Yes, it is talking about India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, IMEC. So it was in news. East, there are two parts of this corridor. Okay, one is Eastern Corridor and one is Northern Corridor. The Eastern Corridor of this will connect India to South China Sea. This is incorrect. It will connect India to Persian Gulf or Arabian Gulf region. So it is incorrect statement. Northern Corridor will connect Arabian Gulf to Europe. Now this is correct, we can say. ठीक है, तो ये एक ट्रांजिट मल्टीमोडल ट्रांजिट कॉरिडोर हम बना रहे हैं, राइट. सो व्हाट शुड बी द आंसर? सेकंड, दैट इज बी ओनली, 2 ओनली. ठीक है, बी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. ऑलराइट, सो दीज वर द ज्योग्राफी क्वेश्चंस. नाउ लेट्स शिफ्ट टू द environment related questions. So in environment also we have continued to surprise you the way UPSC is also surprising you since last 2-3 years. ठीक है, the way they are surprising means random questions they are asking environment section, especially related to species or any kind of, let's say, initiative or let's say environmental laws related questions. So we have also added such kind of questions. Like for example, first question you can see here, like moving bed biofilm reactor technology is often discussed in the context of. Now biofilm, if you have read something about this biofilm, it is something related to, we can say, pollutants, and that to water pollution. Biofilm, ठीक है, तो वाटर पोल्यूशन से रिलेटेड, सॉइल पोल्यूशन से रिलेटेड, और वी कैन से बायो रीमेडिएशन, उस तरीके से आप सोच सकते हैं. सो इट इज बेसिकली द टेक्नोलॉजी यूज्ड इन बायोलॉजिकल वेस्ट वाटर ट्रीटमेंट. ओके, बायोलॉजिकल वेस्ट वाटर ट्रीटमेंट. सो बी इज द करेक्ट आंसर हियर. This reactor is being set up in one of the part of the country, and this is going to be the new area of, we can say that, the technology demonstration for wastewater treatment. ठीक है, moving bed biofilm reactor. Now next is digital sequence information, DSI, refers to digital versions of plant, animal, microorganism, genetic material that can be used instead of actual organism. That is true. It was very much in news because of, let's say, recently COP16 of UNCBD happened. And this information and the benefits derived from this information, they should be also shared according to Nagoya Protocol. So here it is talking about the Cartagena Protocol. It is incorrect. It is Nagoya Protocol of 2010. Cartagena Protocol is related to biosafety. ठीक है, दोनों प्रोटोकॉल UNCBD के ही है, but this is incorrect. First is correct. The decision to launch the global fund to facilitate sharing benefits uses of DSI on genetic resources more fairly was taken in COP15 last year, and this year it was finalized. ठीक है, decision to launch was taken last year, this year it was finalized, so this becomes incorrect again. So that's why one only, that is A is the correct answer. A is the correct answer. Moving on. Yes, in the context of biofuels, it is talking about incorrect statement, right? India is one of the founding member of Global Biofuel Alliance launch. Yes, of course, India itself took lead. It is India's initiative. We know about that, along with other countries like Brazil. ठीक है, तो this is, we can say, correct statement. GBA is the public-private alliance that intends to facilitate policy lessons sharing, technology advancement. This is correct. It is multi-stakeholder alliance wherein government, private sector, academicians, and the non-profit organizations, private companies, they will participate. India ranks second globally in blending of biofuels. Now that is also true. India has already reached, we can say that, the 10% E10 fuel standards, and we want to reach 20% E20. ठीक है, so that 20% that we want to reach by 2025. This is our target, blending. ethanol blending program. Bureau of Energy Efficiency has tasked to formulate relevant standards necessary for quality parameters, we can say, or performance specifications. Now generally that is the responsibility of BIS. Standards से related जो responsibility होती है BIS की होती है. This is incorrect statement, we can say. So D is the correct answer. Moving on. In the context of proposals to use dimethyl ether as a fuel in vehicles in India, main advantage of this fueled vehicles is near elimination of soot emissions. That is true, and that's why it is being promoted. In India also recently, one, let's say, technology demonstration happened for use of this particular fuel. In advanced nations like European countries, this has been used, and up to 100% can be considered for blending with liquefied petroleum gas. So we can say that yes, that is also, we can say that true. ठीक है, and DME as a fuel reduces emissions of oxides and nitrogen and sulfur. ठीक है, तो ये भी सही है. तो वो हम बोल सकते हैं कि all three is the correct answer, dimethyl ether, right? So if such kind of new developments are happening in fuel development, ठीक है, तो वो आप जरूर करिएगा प्रीलिम्स के लिए. National Tiger Conservation Authority has given principal approval to Kaimur Wildlife Sanctuary as new tiger reserve in the country. Which of the following states is this wildlife sanctuary situated? This is located in Bihar. Okay, in southeastern part of Bihar along the border with Jharkhand and Uttar Pradesh. This particular tiger reserve will be Bihar's second tiger reserve. First one is Valmiki Tiger Reserve. Okay, so D is the correct answer. Kaimur Hills are located there, right? Now, Wildlife Protection Amendment Act 2022 inserted new schedule 4 for specimens listed in CITES appendices. This is correct, we can say. Earlier there were total 6, we can say, schedules in Wildlife Protection Act. These have been rationalized into 4 schedules now. ठीक है, पहले 4 को उन्होंने 2 में कन्वर्ट किया हुआ है, जो हम बोल सकते हैं कि जो प्लांट्स वाला जो चीज़ था वो हटा दिया है, और उन्होंने अपेंडिक्स, साइट्स अपेंडिक्स के जो एनिमल्स है थ्रेटन स्पेसीज के लिए, उनके लिए अपेंडिक्स शेड्यूल 4 एक सेपरेट बना दिया है. नाउ शेड्यूल स्पेसिमेन लिस्टेड इन अपेंडिक्स 1 ऑफ शेड्यूल 4 cannot be bred in captivity without license. This is also true. So they have to take the license. Let's say this was enforced. This amendment provisions came into force in 2023, and from that date, within 90 days, they have to obtain the license for let's say breeding in captivity for these species. Both statements are correct here. So we can say that C is the correct answer. Next question. Now, regarding the red, green and brown algae that inhabit the sea, red algae is likely to be found in the deepest waters. This is correct, we can say. In the deep waters near the ocean bed, red algae is found. Red algae does not rely on photosynthesis to make food. Now, this is incorrect. They have a unique kind of pigment that help them to make food from blue light that reaches up to that depth. ठीक है, blue light reaches up to farther depth, we can say that, and that's why they can do the photosynthesis. This one is incorrect, first is correct. That's why C is the correct answer here. All right, so such kind of, let's say, confusing statements can be mentioned. Now, next is, yes, created and led by UN Habitat, C40 aims to drive urban action that reduces greenhouse gas emissions and climate risk. Now, C40 was initiative started in 2005 by London mayor, okay, mayor of London. Prominent and major cities around the world, their municipal governments, they let's say it is the coalition of these municipal government. UN Habitat has no role in let's say creation of this C40. Okay? It is a global network of nearly at present 100 mayors from urban centers, which was a result of Istanbul Declaration on Human Settlement. This is correct, we can say. No city from India is currently member. Now this is incorrect. Okay, so only we can say that one statement is correct here. At present, there are 6 cities from India. The cities like Delhi or Kolkata, we can say that Mumbai, Bengaluru, Jaipur, ठीक है, Hyderabad. These are the cities. इसमें चेन्नई नहीं है, ठीक है. So A is the correct answer. A is the correct answer. Moving on. Yes, unique characteristics of species. This is what they are focusing. Right, a kind of GK type of question. Among the following, which of the following only snake that builds the nest? Only snake that builds the let's say nest. Now it is very unique information, right? So it is king cobra, and it also, let's say, build that nest to protect its we can say that eggs. ऐसा behavior बाकी snakes में नहीं है. So we can say B is the correct answer. Now moving on. Western Ghats Plant Specialist Group has been set up by Union Environment Ministry to improve the intergovernmental coordination among southern states for demarcation. ESZ. This group is not by for demarcation of eco-sensitive zones. You can see that it is talking about plant specialist group. No, it is related to taxonomy, categorization of the plant species. It is IUCN led initiative. We can say this is incorrect. In India, eco-sensitive zones can be declared under the provisions of, yes, EPA. Section 3 of EPA provides for declaration of such area around the present protected area so as to reduce the polluting activities in that region. Okay, so we can say that this is correct. Human settlements are not allowed within the eco-sensitive zones. Now this is incorrect. Human settlements are allowed. Rather, within ESZ, there is regulation of polluting activities. Certain activities are prohibited, certain activities are monitored, regulated, and certain activities are allowed. Especially the activities carried out by the human settlements for their subsistence purpose, like agriculture, grazing, and all these activities. While the polluting activities like mining or polluting industries, they are not allowed to be set up. Okay, so only one statement is correct here. A is the correct answer. Alright, moving ahead. Yes, marine cloud brightening. This is one of the geoengineering technique. Okay, geoengineering technique that has been suggested for dealing with the global warming and climate change. The potential solution for coral bleaching induced by rising sea surface temperature. This is correct. Marine cloud brightening will result into more albedo of these, we can say, clouds. And marine cloud, because we are focusing on marine areas, as these regions have more moisture content, and more moisture content available when let's say there is availability of what we can say hygroscopic nuclei, then there is going to be cloud formation. More cloud formation will result into, we can say that, more reflection of incoming solar radiation that will result into global cooling. ठीक है, तो ये सही है statement. Current MCB proposals rely on salt water spray. This is correct, which would mimic the plumes of sulfur rich emissions from ship stacks or volcanoes. That is true. In past, volcanic eruption has resulted into extensive spread of, we can say that, dust particles in the space that has resulted into cloud formations, and we can say scattering of light back into the space. So we can say similar kind of mechanism is suggested. Both statements are correct. Statement 2 is correct explanation of statement 1. A is the correct answer. Moving ahead. Enrichment plantation. This is basic NCERT question. Enrichment plantation is something, we can say that the existing forest is cleared and the plantation crops are grown on that in that region. So in which some particular species of trees that are commercially profitable are planted after removal of other tree species in that area. So this is, we can say that, correct. Commercial plantations that are carried out by clearing forest is an example of enrichment Plantation. B is the correct answer. Snow blindness. What is snow blindness and why let's say which factor is responsible for that? So simply we should understand snow blindness is something related to ozone layer depletion. Increased level of fluorinated compounds like CFCs and their compounds that deplete the ozone layer. So excess amount of ultraviolet radiations, especially ultraviolet radiations B. So they are very harmful for human eyes. Human corona is getting affected. That may result into this condition called as snow blindness. Okay, so A is the correct answer. All right. Now moving on. The individuals among which of the following animal can communicate by calling names of each other, just like humans. Again, the human, let's say animal behavior, unique characteristics. The recent research have shown that elephants might be able to communicate with each other by calling their names. Okay, so the other animals, they are not capable of doing this. Let's say it is also an area of research that dolphins or sharks, the animals which are, let's say, communicating with each other through echolocation, they may be using such kind of technique, but terrestrial animals, it is the elephants at present. Okay, so C is the correct answer. Which of the following are not examples of primary microplastics? Now, this question, first of all, let's understand what are microplastics. So, plastics which are having, let's say, diameter or thickness which is less than, we can say, certain microns, that is, we can say microplastic. It is very harmful, especially for aquatic ecosystem or marine ecosystem. Okay, marine ecosystem. Now, when the microplastic is directly entering into these environment, they are called as primary microplastic. For example, microbeads. Okay, microbeads let's say found in personal care products like scrubbers. ठीक है, आप जो फेस पे लगाते हैं स्क्रबर जो होता है वो उसमें माइक्रोबीड्स होता है, राइट? और वी कैन से अदर एग्जांपल यू कैन is the fibers that is getting added through washing machine or laundry. ठीक है, आपके जो क्लोथ्स के फाइबर्स डायरेक्टली एंटर हो रहे हैं वॉशिंग मशीन के थ्रू पानी में, सो दैट इज एग्जांपल ऑफ प्राइमरी माइक्रोप्लास्टिक, वी कैन से दैट. ठीक है, सो माइक्रोफाइबर शेड फ्रॉम क्लोथिंग, दिस इज वी कैन से एग्जांपल ऑफ प्राइमरी. यहाँ पर देखिए नॉट एग्जांपल पूछा है, नॉट एग्जांपल ऑफ प्राइमरी मतलब सेकेंडरी होना चाहिए. व्हाट इज सेकेंडरी माइक्रोप्लास्टिक? Secondary is we can say that when it proper plastic is entering into water body, and then thereafter there may be, we can say, biodegradation or photodegradation or chemical reaction. Through that there is a degradation in that water body, formation of microplastic happens. Let's say a water bottle is entering into let's say river and then into ocean, and that plastic bottle is later degraded through various actions. तो वो माइक्रोप्लास्टिक जो होगा दैट इज सेकेंडरी वी कैन से माइक्रोप्लास्टिक. नाउ हियर वी विल मेक सर्टेन चेंजेस बिकॉज देयर इज लेट्स से प्रॉब्लम विद ऑप्शन, एंड हियर वी कैन टॉक अबाउट इज which of the following are examples of primary microplastic, and you can see that the microfibers shed from clothing or microbeads found in the personal care or plastic pellets used in industrial manufacturing. So there is, we can say that some kind of friction of these plastic pellets, and that result into shedding of microplastic into industrial effluents. Fibers from washing machine, all these are examples, and here we will add 1 2 3 4, all we can say that is the correct answer here. ठीक है, तो बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट अंडरस्टैंड. प्राइमरी और सेकेंडरी में क्या डिफरेंस है? डायरेक्ट एंड इनडायरेक्ट. Directly when they are entering into water body as a microplastic, that is primary microplastic, and indirectly that means basically there is action on the plastic that is converting it into microplastic, so that is we can say secondary microplastic. All right, so these are the questions of environment section. Do share with your friends and give the next AIPMT which is let's say going to be very different from these questions. Also, now from next month onwards, you may be shifting to the prelims preparation, and we are starting with PGP program, prelims guidance program, and its Orientation session is scheduled on the 4th of January. So do attend that session. It is open session and PGP program is starting from 6th of January. This is integrated program wherein classroom teaching, along with that, let's say MCQ solving and mentoring, all this will these things will be done simultaneously, so that your score improves and your preparation is enriched. All right. Okay. Thank you.
So welcome to the discussion of current affair part of the AIPMT 3 questions. So we quickly will see the questions and we'll see the discussion part of this. So the first question is question number 61. So it talks about Hay-Flick limit. So this limit talks about, it refers to the maximum number of times a somatic cell can divide before aging. It says that there is a finite limit. The somatic cell, all those cells which are part of organs and all these things, they have finite time. So it shows that there is a definite part that humans or any other organism is bound to age. It cannot be infinite times of cell division that can happen. So this particular limit is known as Hay-Flick limit. So C is the correct answer for this. Coming to question number 62. So Arogya Matri Health Cube. So it is the world's first portable hospital. This is correct. So that has been created under project Bhishma. So basically what they have created a portable hospital and they can drop it wherever it is required. It would be very important. It would be very handy in case of disaster response as well as any humanitarian need that is required. So this is very good development from the Indian government. So it has been designed indigenously under the project Bhishma. This is correct. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare is the nodal ministry for developing the cube. This is also correct. So basically this is the nodal ministry which has developed this under project Bhishma. So all the three statements are correct. D would be the correct answer for question number 62. So bonus issue. So this question was taken all because Reliance Industries, India's most valuable firm, has announced bonus of shares. Basically all those existing shareholders, they will be getting additional share in respect of the number of shares they originally hold. So this was announced by the Reliance Industry. So it is the issuance of new shares to the existing shareholder without any additional cost. So basically what happens, if the company is actually doing profits, they can declare dividend, or sometimes many of the sound companies, what they do, they instead of giving dividends, they basically announce that they will be issuing a bonus share. So what is the difference? In case of bonus share, the number of free floating shares in the market would increase. At the same time, the prices would go down by equal proportion. Suppose the price of the share was ₹100 and 1:1 share is announced. That is, for every one share that you hold, you will be given one more share. So what would happen? Now the prices would get adjusted to ₹50 and now free floating share would have 2x number of shares which are already there. So basically it is and these shares would be fully funded from the government, from those private company or the company's own reserves. So that would mean the cash reserves would go down and the equal amount of shares would be fully paid up by the company's end. And what would be the return for the investors? Those shareholders would be getting additional shares. So what would happen in future if the company again posts profit, and they will get additional dividend because the number of shares have increased. At the same time, there is an equal probability that if the share prices increase, that would mean more capital accumulation for these shareholders. There's another thing, there's another way, that is split. Share split and share bonus issues are two different things. In case of share split, the face value of shares are split into number of splitting entities. Suppose if they issued at 1:1 split, what would happen in case of share split? That if the face value of the share is ₹10, it would go down to ₹5. We are talking about share split. But in case of bonus issue, that would not happen. So basically, in case of bonus issue, the company would, instead of giving dividends, they issue bonus share. Existing shareholders. Question number 64. National Commission for Women, the chairman, newly appointed chairman. So it is a statutory body established under the NCW Act 1990. This is correct. Its chairperson is appointed by the Government of India, not President of India. President of India generally appoints constitutional body and some of the most important statutory bodies. Second is incorrect. It is empowered to investigate and examine all matters relating to the safeguard provided for women under the Constitution and other laws. This is correct. The chairperson as well as members have a tenure not exceeding 3 years or till the age of 65. This is correct. And reappointment is allowed. Reappointment is allowed. So all out of the 4 statements, 3 statements are correct. C would be the correct answer for this particular question. Coming to question number 65. So it talks about World Population Day. It is United Nations Development Program rather than United Nations Population Fund. So first is incorrect. It is observed on 11th July every year. This is correct. The theme for 2024 World Population Day was Leave No One Behind, Count Everyone, basically stressing on census. Stressing upon conducting regular census. So this is, the theme is also correct. So second and third statement are correct out of the 3 given. D would be the correct answer for question number 65. Coming to question number 66. So 66th question says Digital Agriculture Mission. So this is also recently announced under the AgriStack. So there are 2 components. One is AgriStack component, other is Krishi Decision Support System. So under the AgriStack component of the mission, farmers will be given digital identity similar to Aadhaar for unique identification. This is correct. Under the Krishi Decision Support System pillar, a pool of Agri Mitra will be created. No, they would be using remote sensing to provide on-field soil health information to the farmers rather than having foot soldier like Agri Mitras. So that is all digitally and remote using satellites and drones. They will be analyzing and sensors also. They will be collecting data, and based on that they will be giving all those critical decision making information. So first is only correct out of the 2 statements. A would be the correct answer. 67th question. Brain rot. Brain rot, this is Oxford Word of the Year 2024. It is a cognitive deterioration due to excessive consumption of digital content that are trivial and unchallenging, unessential. Basically binge watching, just flicking reels and all these things which are quite, you can say, evident among Gen Zs as well as Gen Alpha. They are just wasting their time. It is leading to brain rot. Basically the cognitive thinking level, the critical decision level, which these are going down. That has been brought, and this particular phenomena is known as brain rot. 67th, A would be the correct answer. 68th question, developing cutting edge weather. So we'll see the command. How many of the above are objectives of the recently launched mission Mausam? So this has been launched by Ministry of Earth Sciences so as to make India weather ready, climate ready, and also create those support structures so that the state of the art weather radars and weather stations are created, and India creates those, we can say, real time data so as to observe climate as well as weather changes. So that is a part of mission Mausam. So developing cutting edge weather surveillance technology, this is correct. Implementing higher resolution atmospheric observation, this is also correct. Implementing next generation radars and satellites with advanced instrument payloads, this is correct. Here we are talking about weather radars, this is correct. And developing satellite based secure quantum communication, this is a part of National Quantum Mission. So that is obviously secured quantum communication. These are not part of this mission Mausam. This is National Quantum Mission. So 4th will not be correct out of the 4 given. Only 3 are correct. C would be the correct answer. 69th. So International Medical Device Regulators Forum, it works under the aegis of WHO. No, it's a voluntary group. It's a voluntary group. This is incorrect. It aims to accelerate international medical device regulatory harmonization. Basically, there are many medical devices which are being created by many of those research and development going all around the world. So they need to create the standardized system so that there could be interoperability. At the same time, the research can create a knowledge base so that further improvements can also come to the fore. So this is why this has been, you can say, this is very good forum to share those developments. This is correct. India holds the status of affiliate member. This is incorrect. So second statement is only correct. How many of them are correct? Only one. Seventieth question. Zind. So the inaugural edition of the exercise began in 2016, I guess. So this is incorrect. It is an annual exercise between India and Kazakhstan. This is correct. And the 2024 edition was held in Auli, Uttarakhand. This is also correct. So 2 and 3 is only correct. B would be the correct answer for question number 70. Green hushing. So again, a term which was in news. What happens? Many of those companies under the ESG norms, ESG, environment, social and governance, they are adhering to ESG norms. They are actually greening their whole supply chain, their production process. But it has been found out that many of these companies, they are under-reporting their climate, you can say climate-related, you can say whatsoever commitments they are doing. Why? Because they feel that it is actually creating negative aspect. What happens? Those investors feel that if they are going, the companies are going overboard on climate-related developments, they are actually undermining the quality. Basically, they are reducing the quality to maintain the cost. Basically, if you are switching to green manufacturing or green operations, you will have to bear higher cost. And since you will have to bear higher cost, the profits would go down in a way the investors would not like. Investor wants a higher return on investment. So what is the strategies which are being implemented? The companies are actually under-reporting their commitments or environmental goals and achievements so that investors would feel that they can be assured about higher return on investment. And this is how, that is also a checkmate kind of situation. If the companies wants to go overboard on climate commitments and all those greening of their operations, that would undermine the profitability and also may actually irk the, you can say, all the investors which are putting money in these companies. So this is how there are certain constraints when we green or switch to greener options in case of the operations. So C would be the correct answer for question number 96. So international energy efficiency does not come under UNFCCC. This is incorrect. Its supported initiatives are open to both member and non-member nations as well as the private sector. This is correct. The Bureau of Energy Efficiency, BEE, is designated as the implementing agency in India. This is also correct. So out of the 3 statements, 2 statements, second and third, are correct. B would be the correct answer for question number 97. It's a factual question which was in news. Petra, it is a World Heritage Site, UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is in Jordan. This was in news because a secret tomb was found in this Petra, I can say, monument or archaeological site. It is in Jordan. So it is Bharatiya Adim Jati. Adim Jati, obviously tribal. So second statement gets eliminated. It is not related with scheduled castes. It is related with scheduled tribes and other tribes which are denotified and all these things, but they are not related with scheduled castes. So that is why second statement is incorrect. It was established by Mahatma Gandhi. This is also incorrect, since this was a news all because President of India, she actually went and was hosted, or you can say she was a chief guest of one of the particular meetings of this Adim Jati Sevak Sangh. So this is by Vittal Bhai Thakkar. So whenever president is actually invited to many of these as chief guest or any of these events, you need to have a idea about what all are these association or these bodies. You need to have a good sound knowledge on this from the perspective of prelims. So both the statements are incorrect. D would be the correct answer for question number 99. And the last question in the current affair as well as in this particular test was related to Montellu caste. So all those doctors who are preparing from the you can say, or any pharmacist or anyone who are from the pharma background or chemical engineers, they would be knowing this thing. It is all used as anti-allergic medicine. So this is a composition which is anti-allergic. It is being indiscriminately used against common cold and cough. So it is a medication for managing asthma and allergies. So World Health Organization has red flagged the overconsumption and also the availability of this over-the-counter OTC medicine, and that may also actually lead to even more drug resistance specifically for this particular drug. So this is all about the current affair part of this AIPMT discussion. Thank you. So welcome to the discussion of AIPMT 3 economy section. So we'll see the questions and the correct answer as well as certain discussions about it. So quickly we'll see the questions which were asked in this particular test. So the first question which appeared was 11th question of the question paper, that is, consider the following statements. A cess is a tax on tax collected for specific purpose. This is a correct statement. So there are different cess which are collected. A cess could be health and education cess, Krishi Kalyan cess. So these are nothing but tax which are collected on the total tax which are collected basically on the taxable income. So if that income tax, suppose the income tax is 30% and the person is earning 10 lakh rupees. So the total income tax would be rupees 3 lakh, and if there is a cess of 4%, then 4% would be applicable on the rupees 3 lakh, the taxable amount which was collected. So that would become 12,000 rupees. So that would become the cess amount, and that is for specific purpose. So if a cess is collected for health and education purpose, that would only be used for that particular purpose only. So the statement is correct. Proceeds from the cess are generally not shared with the states. So there is obviously Finance Commission which basically shares the central pool of all that collection that goes to the Consolidated Fund of India. But in case of cess, it has been found out that now this has become a way wherein the total collection is being just pocketed by the central government. This one cess, that is GST compensation cess, which is shared with the state government, with the respective state governments in case of revenue shortfall post GST implementation. But it has been found out that it is not, or apart from that, various other cess which even contribute to more than 16% of the total tax revenue, it has not been shared with many of the states. It is not a mandatory exercise that cess needs to be shared with states. So this is a correct statement. Unlike cess, surcharge is levied on total income of the assessee. No, total tax collected. So that is also a tax on tax. So surcharge is also a tax on tax, but unlike cess, there is no condition attached to it. So it can be used for any purposes which are not defined. So cess is tax on tax for specific purpose. Surcharge is tax on tax for any general purpose. So that is why third statement becomes incorrect. First and second statement are only correct. A would be the correct answer for question number 11. Now statement 1 says a reduction in cash reserve ratio may tackle investment slowdown in the economy. This is a correct statement. Statement 2 says increase in liquidity can lead to lower lending rates in the economy. This is also correct. What happens that when cash reserve ratio is reduced, then the money multiplier increases. Why? Money multiplier, we know that is 1 upon CRR. So if CRR rates goes down, money multiplier would increase, and that would actually unlock liquidity in the market. And if there is liquidity with the banking system, the lending rates in the economy would go down. And if there is a lower lending rate, the private capex is likely to get boost. And this is why in the latest monetary policy in the December 2024, the Reserve Bank of India actually lowered the cash reserve ratio without actually the monetary policy did not change the repo rates. Basically, Reserve Bank of India lowered the cash reserve ratio to unlock liquidity in the market so that the private capex can be boosted. So both the statements are correct, and statement 2 is actually explaining the effect of statement 1 or the cause of statement 1. A would be the correct answer for question number 12. Coming to question number 13th. So it talks about the World Bank Group. So International Development Association, IDA offers grant and low interest loans to developing countries like India. This is incorrect part. They offer loan to low income and poorest countries. Rather than developing countries like India, India gets loan from International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. That is also part of World Bank Group. But International Development Association only, basically they have a mandate that they need to offer grants and soft loans to low income countries. So the first statement is incorrect. The International Finance Corporation, that is also one of the organs of World Bank Group, engages with private sector. They specifically, there is a mandate that they engage with the private sector rather than public sector for financing activities in developing countries. So that is why this statement is also incorrect. Both the statements are incorrect. D would be the correct answer for question number 13th. Coming to question number 14. So again, in India, small finance banks are required to maintain a minimum capital adequacy ratio of 15%. So as there is a risk, higher the risk, the capital adequacy ratio would be higher. That would be actually imposed by the Reserve Bank of India. As per the Basel norms or Basel norms, it is 9%, but public sector banks are actually mandated to have a higher cushion of 12% capital adequacy ratio. But in case of small finance bank, since the risk would be even higher, the capital adequacy norm or the CAR norms are even higher at 15%. So this is incorrect. In India, foreign portfolio investors are not allowed to invest in shares of unlisted companies in India. This is correct. So you will say that how many of those foreign companies are holding shares of many of the unlisted firms? It is actually through FDI route. So if any foreign investor wants to hold shares of an unlisted firm in India, they need to come as FDI rather than FPI. And there is a specific change which has been brought in by the SEBI. SEBI says that, however, if FPI wants to invest in Indian companies which are unlisted, they can only actually invest in non-convertible debentures. So they can invest in debt rather than in equity part. So when they want to invest in equity part in unlisted company, that has to come through FDI route rather than FPI route. So this is incorrect basically. Second is also incorrect. Third says, in India, retail investors are allowed to invest maximum up to rupees 2 lakh in IPOs for any company. This is correct. So basically what happens that if the shares are actually offered in lot, that in a particular lot, the shares would be offered in multiples of 15,000, and the maximum basically limit that is allowed for retail portion in any IPO is not more than rupees 2 lakh. That is the idea. And if there is more than 2 lakh invested by any particular individual, that is considered to be an entity rather than an individual, or it is considered as institutional investment rather than retail investment. So that is why for retail investment, it is only up to rupees 2 lakh. So only third statement is correct. Out of the 3 statements given, only 1 statement is correct. That is third. A would be the correct answer for question number 14. Coming to the 15th question. So recently livestock census, 21st livestock census was announced by Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairy in October 2024. So it will get completed by February 2025. So according to this, it is conducted once every 5 years, not 2 years, by the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying. So it is once every 5 years. So first statement is incorrect. Apart from livestock, poultry head count is also measured in the census. This is correct. Poultry head count is also measured. The recently launched 21st livestock census is the first fully digital census of this kind. This is incorrect. The first fully digital livestock census was the 20th livestock census in 2019. So this is not the first only, it is an addition to this. So only second statement is correct. C would be the correct answer for question number 15. Coming to question number 16. So how many of the above are considered as alternate investment funds? So alternate investment funds, they are also regulated by SEBI. There are various categories. There are basically 3 categories, and they are different from traditional investments. Traditional investments could be either through equity route or it could be through debt route. But these are investments, it is just like private pooling of investment, and there are different offers that are given, like private equity, that is one kind of alternate investment fund, or they can also create fund of funds. So these are certain kind of investment funds which are alternate, not traditional channels. Traditional channels are either through equity by buying shares or through debt by holding the certificates, the liability certificates, basically those certificates which are issued by companies, debentures. So follow on public offering, FPO, when any company which has already been listed and they want to issue fresh shares, they need to go through the follow on public offering route or FPO route. But this is traditional. This is traditional investment under equity route. So that is why this is not alternate investment fund. Private equity, this is a part of alternate investment fund. Hedge funds, they are also part of investment funds. Venture capitalism, this is also part of alternate investment funds. And apart from first, 2, 3 and 4 are alternate investment funds. C would be the correct answer for question number 16. Coming to question number 17. So the question number 17 says, price, there are 2 items which are given and the description. Price stabilization fund, this was brought in to have effective market intervention to moderate prices of agricultural or horticultural commodities. So basically when the price rise, you will find out that the government of India starts selling tomato, onion at subsidized prices through their different channels. It could be through NAFED or it could be NCCF. So how do they actually manage subsidized supply of these things? That is through price stabilization fund. So that is aimed at lowering the price which are being experienced at the consumption end by the consumer, so that the market price could be higher, but the consumers are actually offered those commodities, those agri-horticultural commodities. It could be horticulture, it could be even wheat has been added to price stabilization fund at a lower price. So it is incorrect. Price deficiency payment system, compensating farmers for the difference between the market price and the minimum support price of their crops. This is correct. There is a scheme known as PM ASHA. So under this, price deficiency payments are offered to notified crops specifically belonging to the pulses, some categories of pulses. Apart from that, there are different oil seeds. Under this, the government ensures that if the price goes lower than the market price, if the market price goes lower than the minimum support price, the government would be offering the difference of these prices rather than actual procurement. So this is how in notional basis, the farmers would be getting prices at MSP only. The difference would get credited into the bank accounts of farmers. So this is correct. Market intervention scheme, that is aimed at supporting farmers from distress sale when prices for agricultural commodities are low. Suppose there is a bumper crop production and instantly there is a price crash, all because of glut in the market. So what would happen, that the prices would be so low that the farmers may not be able to even recover the costs. So the government comes to the rescue and they offer them the prices which is under the market intervention scheme. They start procuring those things so that the same thing can be offloaded in the market when there is supply shortages, and that is under the market intervention scheme, so as to ensure that the prices at the suppliers end, at the producers end, don't go very low. So this is also incorrect. This is not explained by the respective description. So only one pair is correctly matched. A would be the correct. Oh, sorry, one only. 2 only is the correct answer. So C would be the correct answer for this particular question, as 2 only is the correct answer for question number 17. Coming to the 18th question. So, unified pension scheme. So, this was also recently in news. So, we'll see the provisions. It guarantees an assured minimum pension of rupees 10,000 per month to the subscriber. This is correct. The minimum service period to get 50% assured pension is 25 years. So, you will get, the pensions would get started by 10 years. Once the person completes 10 years in service in the government services, the pension would start coming. But between 10 years to 25 years, the pension would be on proportionate basis, that is known as pro rata basis. And once 25 years are completed in the services, then 50% assured pension is guaranteed under the unified pension scheme, just like old pension scheme. So this is incorrect. The pension will be indexed to inflation like the old pension scheme. This is correct. That is known as dearness allowance, or in Hindi it is known as Mahangai Bhatta, DA. In the event of pensioner's death, the spouse will receive 60% of the pension of the subscriber. Either it could be said 60% of the last drawn wages, last drawn salary of the subscriber, or it would be 30% of the last drawn pension of the subscriber. So this is how it would be unfolded. So this is also incorrect. First and third statement is only correct. A would be the correct answer for question number 18. Coming to question number 19. Which one of the following statements best describes the core objective of the Green Energy Corridor? So it aims at to develop dedicated transmission networks for renewable energy to integrate with the national grid efficiently. Basically, the renewable energies like solar or wind, they have intermittent as well as the frequency is lower than what is being actually supplied through traditional routes like coal or gas turbines, thermal power plants we are talking about. So to integrate renewable into the existing grid, they have brought in Green Energy Corridor scheme, and that is all by the Power Grid Corporation of India that is spearheading the scheme, so that there is grid integration of renewable energy and they can also be purchased by those distribution companies at par with thermal power plant electricity. So B would be the correct answer. Coming to 20th question. With reference to the industrial sector of India, consider the following statements. India is the second largest producer of steel in the world. This is correct after China. China is the world's largest, and also it holds 50% of the total steel production by the global output in steel. India is at distant second. India is the world's largest manufacturer of two-wheeler motorcycles. This is also correct. It superseded China. India ranks amongst the top 5 in terms of manufacturing output in the world. This is also correct. All the 3 statements are correct. First is China. Second is US. Third is Germany. Fourth is Japan. And fifth is India. This is how the list is in terms of manufacturing output globally. All the 3 statements are correct. C would be the correct answer for question number 20. Then question number 76, which was also economy part. So it is all about the insolvency and bankruptcy code. The corporate insolvency resolution process, CIRP, must be resolved within 330 days of admission. This is correct. It started with 180 days. It got extended to 270. Now the current amendment says that it has to be actually resolved within 330 days of admission. However, this is rarely followed because the time of admission itself takes so much time, because the National Company Law Tribunal needs to actually check all those things before insolvency proceedings are accepted. So it is correct. The National Company Law Tribunal, NCLT, is the adjudication authority for all classes of debtors. This is incorrect. NCLT for corporates. There is debt recovery tribunals for individuals and partnership firms, corporates as well as limited liability partnership firms. So they are adjudicated through Debt Recovery Tribunal, DRT. So second is incorrect. A would be the correct answer for question number 76. Coming to question number 77. So statement 1 says huge manufacturing overcapacity in China. Basically China is actually dumping manufacturing products into the world. May hurt, or it is talking about India's perspective, may hurt India's export competitiveness. Obviously China would start dumping, and what would happen? India's domestic manufacturing may not be able to actually compete with the world, and India would be actually experiencing that export competitiveness to their export partners, it is decreasing, all because China is offering at a way lower cost. This is all about overcapacity in China in terms of manufacturing. So India's export competitiveness is dependent on global demand growth. This is also correct. So if the world demand of commodities, of any manufactured items goes down, obviously India's export competitiveness may go down. So these are one of the factors. There could be other factors also. So which one of the following is correct in respect of the above statements? Both the statements are correct, but there are no linkages between the two, as both of them are talking about independent and isolated items. Coming to 78th question, with reference to the Banking Regulation Act. So this question was all taken because it is the 75th year of this particular act. So this gives power to RBI to regulate the banking system in India. So the act empowers RBI to appoint the board and management of scheduled commercial banks, including the State Bank of India. This is incorrect. It supervises the appointment. There is a bank board bureau. That name has got changed. There is another specific bureau which has been created. Apart from that, for SBI, the appointment committee of cabinet appoints the chairman of SBI. So basically, bank board bureau and appointment committee of cabinet actually appoints the RBI, appoints the chairman of these banking system. Apart from that, RBI actually gives the supervisory function. It gives all those recommendations. Okay, this thing is done. Then RBI comes into picture. All urban cooperative banks in India are supervised by RBI under the act. So this is correct. Earlier, this used to get supervised through the respective registrar of cooperative societies, but there were certain defaults within these urban cooperative banks, and there was amendment, and these banks have been brought into RBI's regulatory fold. This is also correct. Priority sector lending PSL norms are imposed on various categories of banks under this act. This is also correct. So 2 and 3 statements are correct. So the answer would be B. Coming to 79th question. With reference to the foreign direct investment policy on space sector, is FDI policy in space sector. So this has been recently amended. Under the amended FDI policy, 100% FDI is allowed in the space sector. This is correct. So they have actually distributed the whole of space sector into 3 different parts, and for this they have brought in different limits for the automatic route. Although 100% FDI is allowed in the space sector for all these components also, however, under the automatic route there are different categories. How much percentage which are allowed, that is defined accordingly. Although that is 100% FDI allowed. So up to 100% allowed, FDI is allowed under the automatic route in the launch vehicle and associated system or subsystem of the sector. This is incorrect. So we know that FDI can come through automatic route or through government route. Overall FDI 100% is allowed, but under automatic route they have created 3 categories. 1, 2, 3 for different parts. So for launch vehicle and associated system, only 49% FDI under automatic route is allowed. So first statement is only correct. A would be the correct answer. So this is the last question for economy section. So it is a conceptual part. How many of the above factors can trigger dollar inflows, dollar coming into India, coming into Indian market? So high interest rate in the Indian economy, that would actually be a positive thing because that creates interest rate differential. So foreign investors, they will be lucrative to invest in India because they would get more returns on their investment. Increase in yield in rates in US, this may actually prompt dollar outflows. So dollar outflows. So it means dollar may get outflown and the US market would be more lucrative for them. Sovereign credit rating upgrade for India, obviously if that gets upgraded, that means Indian market is stable and Indian economy is doing well, and that would give a signal to foreign investors to start investing in India and also increase their investments. So 1 and 3 are only correct out of 4 or out of 3 conditions. B would be the correct answer for this question 80, question number 80. So this was all about the economy section for the AIPMT 3. Thank you.
Hello everyone, hope you all are doing fine. Welcome to Lukmaan IAS. My name is Vaibhav Sharma, and today we are going to discuss the polity section of GS paper in third test in the series of tests, All India Prelims Mock Test series, the third test that we have conducted today, right? Before we begin our discussion for polity section, let me introduce you to our prelims guidance program that we are going to start on 6th of January. And the strategy session for this prelims program is on 4th of January in the evening, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And this is a program that we have specially curated for the students who are done with a couple of revisions of their whole syllabus and they still lack that confidence. They are still getting anxious about how to approach the actual examination. So we have come up with this program which helps you revise all the sections with prelims focus, all the sections of the syllabus with prelims focus, how the current affairs have the relevance on your static part, and what all are the most crucial points that were in news, most crucial news articles that we have seen in past 1.5 years. All these things will be included, will be taught in the class. We will also discuss about the various strategies just in case you find a very out of the blue question in the examination, how to tackle those kind of questions. We will also discuss about that. And the best part about this prelims guidance program is that you will cover, revise and strategize one particular subject at a time. So it won't be a haphazard kind of things, and we will revise subject wise, section wise, and every class is based on a theme which is also again very decidedly chosen based on the analysis of the previous year question papers, right? So for those students who are still very anxious, they are still doubtful about their level of preparation for appearing in the examinations, please make use of this opportunity. And for others, we have also this prelims test series which we are starting on 12th of January, and it will be again a sectional wise tests for all the different sections that we see in prelims question paper, current affairs, polity, economy, history, geography and other international relations. And newer kind of option framing will also be discussed in the class, how to tackle those kind of options and question formats. So please make use of this opportunity and wish you luck while you prepare for your prelims examination, given that this is the last leg of your preparation and revision. And good luck to you all. Now let us begin with our polity discussion, right? We will see questions one by one that are reflected in this question paper, and we'll discuss about them, right? So in polity section, the number of questions that we see in this question paper were 15. There were 15 questions that were asked from the polity section, question 1 to 10 and 71 to 75. Let us discuss them one by one. Right. So the first question is about the freedom of speech and expression, fundamental rights, very much repeated topic in the prelims examination, right? So the question is the constitutional guarantee of freedom of speech and expression, right? We know that is Article 19, Clause 1 of the Constitution of India, while a fundamental right, that is Part 3 of the Constitution, is not absolute, rather there are certain reasonable restrictions. That is Article 19, Clause 2, and may be subject to reasonable restrictions, right? So this statement is correct. Second statement is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, that is UDHR, recognizes that the exercise of freedom of expression may not be subject to any limitations. So we don't know whether the opinions of UDHR are about the absolute freedom of speech and expression, or whether they are also of the opinion whether these freedom to speech and expression shall be limited or not. Now, the best way to remember these points is in UDHR also it is Article 19 and Article 29. Article 19 talks about the freedom of speech and expression, the fundamental right of speech and expression, but Article 29 also talks about limiting them. Now, what could be the reasons that they may think are fit for restricting these rights? Now, these rights are restricted and again they are of the opinion that these rights can be restricted based on the democratic society to maintain the morality and public order, right? So, the expression may not be subject to any limitations. This statement is incorrect because UDHR also talks about reasonable restrictions on fundamental right to speech and expression. Second statement is incorrect. First is correct. The right option would be option A, one only. Second question. With reference to the Disaster Management Amendment Bill 2024, consider the following statements. Now, we all know that Disaster Management Amendment Bill was introduced in Lok Sabha during the monsoon session. And it is passed by the Lok Sabha in winter session, that is just couple of days back. Right? Now, this given that that we have been seeing number of natural disasters, be it the GLOFs or the heavy rainfalls or droughts or something else, or forest fires, this topic has been in news as well as the favorite of civil services examination, and hence this becomes important. The bill proposes the establishment of a comprehensive disaster database at both the national and state levels. Now, this statement is correct. This statement basically, when you see the Disaster Management Act, the original, the Principal Act in which these amendments are made, the Principal Act of 2005, and we see the Article 2, 6 and 18, I suppose. Yes, 2, 6 and 18. Article 6 talks about having a national database, and 18 talks about state database. Right? So, first statement is correct. Second one is the bill proposes the establishment of National Crisis Management Committee for better disaster management in urban areas. No, the statement is incorrect because the bill proposes the Urban Disaster Management Committee, not National Crisis. The committee would be named Urban Disaster Management Authority. And this authority specifically can be made by a gazette notification by the state governments. Now, there is a caveat. Again, that these urban disaster management authority are not are to be made in every union territory and state except National Capital Territory of Delhi and Chandigarh. So these are the exceptions. If you can remember them, please remember them. And the Urban Disaster Management Authority is constituted by a gazette notification of the state government, right? Second statement is incorrect. So in this case also, the right answer is one only, option A. Next. The HEMA committee report seen in the news recently is related to, now we all know that what HEMA committee report was, pretty much simple question which recently was in news for the exposure of sexual harassment cases and exploitation of women in the movie industry, in the Malayalam film industry, which has been very much in news. And I think this was a simple question and you all could have attempted it, right? Next. Which of the following statements is correct regarding the doctrine of repugnancy? Right. First statement is, it applies only to conflicts between laws made by the parliament and those made by the union territories. No, the law applies also to the laws made by the state legislatures. Right. So first statement is incorrect. Second one is, cause state laws to prevail over central laws in all cases of conflict. In all cases of conflict. Incorrect. C. It deals with the resolution of conflicts between laws enacted by the parliament and those enacted by the legislatures. And last statement is, it is only applicable in cases where the state law was enacted before the central law. No, that is not the case. Even if the state law is enacted after the central law is there, it will be checked according to the provisions of Article 254 of the Constitution of India. The laws will be checked, both the central laws and the state laws will be checked to the limit where they are not repugnant or where they are not in contradiction to the central laws. To the length where they are not in contradiction to the central laws, they are applied, or else the other sections of the law are nullified or they are termed void. To the extent of repugnancy, to the limits where certain laws are in contradiction to the central laws. So statement C is the most accurate, it presents the most accurate kind of definition, not the exact definition, but explanation of the doctrine of repugnancy, that it deals with the resolution. It is not talking about the nullification or declaring void. It talks about the resolution of conflicts between state laws and the laws enacted by the parliament, right? Next, consider the following with respect to the impeachment process of the president. Very much simple question, very much static question, and I presume you all could have answered it correctly. First one is about the violation of the constitution only. That statement is correct. We all know about it. It is a constitutional provision under Article 61 of the Constitution. Impeachment proceedings can be initiated by either house of the parliament, correct? With the charges being signed by 1/3 of the members. It is 1/4. 1/4 of the members of the house. So, second statement is incorrect. Third, nominated members of either house of the parliament can participate in the impeachment process. So, only statement 1 and 3 are correct. So, the right answer is option B, 1 and 3 only. Consider the following statements. So, these are the statements given with reference to the idea of referendum. A voting process in which the entire population of a nation or region is invited to express their views regarding a political issue, views regarding a social issue. And third statement is a referendum is a voting process in which the entire population of a nation or region is invited to make a choice concerning their representatives. So the third statement is not clearly talking about referendum, rather it is conveying the message of elections. Right, we all are familiar with these three terms: election, referendum, and plebiscite. Please revise these three terms, these three key terms. We have been seeing questions reflecting in the actual examination based upon the political theory section of the part, if we can say so. So these are the basic terms that you must be well aware of, well acquainted with. Revise them just in case you have missed on these issues. Right, so the right answer for question 6 is 1 and 2 only, that is option A. Next, consider the following functions of the Constitution. Right, the first one is it establishes a structure for governmental operations. What kind of structure we are talking about, right? So yes, the Constitution do discuss or establish the structure of governmental operations, whether it is separation of powers between legislative, executive and judiciary, whether we are talking about the sharing of powers between the center and states, how the citizens are related to state again, and what could be the mechanisms of dispute resolution, between states and centers, between citizen and state, these kind of things, what is the role of the judiciary. So all these mechanisms, the governmental operations, how the revenues will be collected and distributed, what could be the mechanism of conducting the elections. So all these things, plus also we also know about how the subjects are being differentiated or segregated between the center, state and concurrent lists. What are the subjects that are devolved for the local governments, right? So all these things are very well enumerated and elaborated in the Constitution. So yes, option 1 is correct. Guides the daily administration of the governance. No, the Constitution does not guide the daily governance to to be very specific. Rather, it provides a broad consensus, the basic law based on which the other laws are enacted, be it related to education, traffic violence, or marriage laws, how the property disputes will be resolved, and what could be the taxation laws, company laws, etc. So the constitution does not deal with day-to-day governance, right? Ensures economic prosperity. The key term is ensures. No, the constitution provides certain guidelines which, if well followed, if adhered to, will result to the equality among the citizens or different sections of the society, so that they can work together to achieve economic prosperity. The constitution does not guarantee economic prosperity, rather it envisions an idea that to achieve the economic prosperity, certain so and so things shall be done, right? So option 3 stands incorrect because it does not ensure the economic prosperity. Rather, it provides certain provisions, if followed, will lead to economic equity or equality among various sections of the society. Safeguards personal liberties. Yes, we have seen the fundamental rights. And every modern constitution, every new age constitution talks about these fundamental rights which are granted to every citizens, which in no case shall be violated by the state, right? So for this particular question, only statement 1 and 4 are correct. And the right answer would be option B, 1 and 4 only, right? Next. Consider the following statements in the context of the rights of the minorities. The first one is, minorities as defined in the Constitution have the right under Article 30 to impart education to the children in their own language. Right, the statement so far seems correct, but the catch is here. The minorities, the term minority is not defined in the Constitution. First statement is incorrect. Second, in granting aid, the state shall not discriminate against any educational institute managed by a minority. This statement is correct, right? Third statement is, protection under Article 30 is confined only to religious minorities and does not extend to any sections of citizens in minority, right? Rather, Article 30 talks about two kinds of minorities, which one is religious and other one is linguistic minority. Right? So third statement is also incorrect. The right answer is option B, 2 only. Consider the following statements regarding constitutional remedies. First, the Supreme Court has the power to issue writs for the enforcement of any of the fundamental rights. This statement is correct. Under Article 32, Supreme Court does have the power to issue writs. There are 5 kinds of writs, you know their name. And these are specifically issued for the enforcement of the fundamental rights which are mentioned in Part 3 of the Constitution of India, right? Second statement, the Parliament can empower any other court, including the High Courts, to issue writs. So first part of the statement, the Parliament can empower any other court, is correct. Including the High Courts is incorrect, because High Courts in themselves are provided the power to issue writs by the Constitution itself. right? Constitution under Article 32, the Supreme Court has this power, and under Article 226, High Courts have this power. So second statement is incorrect. Third statement, the Article 32 of the Indian Constitution guarantees the right to move the Supreme Court for the enforcement of fundamental rights only. Yes. Article 32, Clause 1 specifically tells about that right to move to Supreme Court is available to every citizen for the enforcement of fundamental rights or the rights conferred on the citizens in this part of the Constitution. So, third statement is also correct. The right answer would be answer A, 1 and 3 only. Right, next question. Consider the following statements regarding the Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha. He or she is elected by the House as soon as Chairman of the Rajya Sabha is appointed. No, this statement is incorrect. He or she draws salary and allowances as specified in the second schedule of the Constitution. At one point in time, he used to, because the provision under Article 97 of the Constitution of India says that the chairman and deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha, the speaker and the deputy speaker of the Lok Sabha draws their salary and allowances, and such provisions according to the provisions mentioned in the second schedule to the Constitution of India, as long as the Parliament does not come up with a law to regulate their salaries and allowances. But in 1953, the Parliament came up with the Salaries and Allowances of Officers of the Parliament Act 1953. And so at present, the salaries and allowances are guided by the provisions of that particular law enacted in 1953. So this statement stands incorrect. Right? He or she holds office till the Council of Ministers enjoys the confidence of Lok Sabha. So, Council of Ministers and Lok Sabha enjoys office. We can say that about the government or the Prime Minister, but not the Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha is Rajya Sabha, right? So, the Rajya Sabha is a permanent house. It can never be dissolved. Right? So, all the three statements in this question are incorrect. The right answer would be option D, none of the above. Next, consider the following factors: constitutionalism, supremacy of law, multiculturalism, pluralism, and inclusivity, secularism. How many of the above given factors can contribute to fostering fraternity within the Indian polity? So, constitutionalism, like all the arms of the state, be it executive, legislative, or judiciary, adhere to the philosophical premises while making a law, while implementing a law, while adjudicating over a law or any other provision of a law, with the basic concept: the harmony, the social cohesion shall not be disturbed in a democratic society like ours. Right? Supremacy of law also tries to convey the similar point that in the eyes of judiciary, every citizen is equal. We have also talked about these two concepts under Article 14, equal protection of law, and the other one is equality before law. Right? So now, third one is multiculturalism, pluralism, and inclusivity. So there, in our country, we have seen we are a country with multiple faiths, religions, sects, ideological differences and traditions, customs, regions. So there are differences which conveys this idea, along with inclusivity, which says that everybody should accept the differences and live in a peaceful manner, right? Secularism is specifically talking about the interference of the state in your personal beliefs, in your religious faiths. So that is a principled distance. In India, unlike the Western countries where there is a strict separation, that state either remains neutral towards your religious matters, or it maintains a principal distance, right? So all the four, all the four factors, if adhered to on a principled manner, will lead to improvement in fraternity, will foster fraternity, right? Next, so the right option would be option D, all four. The state election commissioner is appointed by the governor of a state in consultation with regional election commissioner is incorrect. There is no such thing as regional election commissioner. Second point is the state election commissioner can be removed by the president only on the grounds of incapacity or proved misbehavior. So we know that there is a constitutional provision under Article 243K Clause 2 that the state election commissioner can be removed in a similar manner or for the similar reasons, just like a judge of the High Court, right? So that is incapacity or proved misbehavior. Third one is the state election commissioner can either be a single member or a multi-member body. So state election commission is a single member body. Right, which is evident from Article 324 Clause 2. Right. So third statement is incorrect. Second statement is correct and first is incorrect. The right answer would be option A, 2 only. How many of the above can be considered as a money bill? A bill imposing income tax, a bill regulating a government borrowing, a bill imposing fines for traffic violations. So, among the three options given, when we read about Article 110, which talks about exclusively about things related to money bill, it says that only the bills which are specifically related, exclusively related to taxation, government borrowings, and management of government funds. Can only be termed as money bills, right? So only two, imposing tax and government borrowing. Only two options are correct. The right answer is option B, only two. Which of the following statements is correct regarding the prorogation of the Indian Parliament? Prorogation can only occur after the House is adjourned sine die. That is incorrect. The President can still prorogue the House without the adjournment of the House sine die, right? This statement is incorrect. The Rajya Sabha is dissolved during prorogation. It is never dissolved. The President can prorogue the House even while it is in session. That statement is correct. Prorogation requires the approval of the Supreme Court. No, it does not require the approval of the Supreme Court. Very standard, basic, simple question. You all must have attempted it correctly. The right answer is option C. Next, consider the following statements. Statement 1, the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016 provides for reservations of disabled in government jobs. That statement is correct. It provides for the reservations of disabled persons in government jobs. So the Act specifically recognizes 21 different kinds of disabilities, and under various sections of the Act, Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. Right, like it mandates a 4% reservation with benchmark disabilities and other such provisions. They are explicitly mentioned in the Act. Right. Second statement, Article 16 of the Indian Constitution mandates the state to make provisions for securing employment and educations. To make provisions for securing employment and education for the vulnerable sections. This statement is incorrect. It does not make compulsory, or it does not make provisions for securing. Rather, it makes provisions for extending the idea of equality, the opportunity of getting the jobs, right? आ जाओ बैठिए आइए. ठीक है. So the Article 16 does not make it mandatory for the government to extend the to secure the what we say employment and education for the vulnerable section. Rather, they advance the idea of what we say providing equal opportunities while getting a job or while competing for a job or the education opportunities, right? So second statement is incorrect. The right answer would be answer C. Statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. Right? Next, do we have any other question? No. Right. So we have discussed the polity section of AIPMT paper 3 in GS paper, and most of the questions were a reflection of current and contemporary topics that we have seen about the impeachment process, be it about the recent bills passed by the Lok Sabha. Few of the questions were of the nature, what we say, from the basic concepts of political theory. We have also discussed about them, right? All in all, that was a balanced question paper, and I believe most of you would have been able to solve it properly. And now that we are at the last leg of our revision and 2024 is coming to an end, I believe you all have worked hard, revised well, understood the concepts, be it any subject, apart from polity also, the conceptual clarity when it comes to economy, when it comes to geography, environment and ecology and other subject matters. And now that the new year is approaching, next time we would be meeting would be a new year for us. And I wish you luck, I wish you success, I wish you wisdom, knowledge, and may you perform well in your upcoming examinations. And just in case you feel like having a right kind of revision, do approach us. We will help you out with those things also. And have a firm belief that whatever you have read, whatever you have learned so far in the past years, or at least for the past 1 year that we had been interacting more often, through Tucker test series, the year-long test series that you all have enrolled for. And have faith that you have prepared well and revise well, be it the phase 2 of Tucker students, be it the prelims guidance program that you can make use of, and prelims test series for the newer students. Make use of these opportunities, get better clarity, practice more, improve your understanding of the demand of the examination, right? So on my part, the final word that I would like to add before we come to an end would be good luck and have faith. Thank you. Wish you luck.
Hello, dear students. Today we are discussing the test number 3 of AIPMT. So now I will discuss 15 questions that are related to history and culture. That includes question number 31 to 40 and question numbers 18, 6 to 90. So the first question is about water management system in ancient and medieval times. So there are 3 statements given, and we have to find out which of these statements are correct as per the options given below. So let us see. Statement 1 says, so what is the question? With reference to the water management system in ancient and medieval India, consider the following statements. So statement 1, Mauryan Empire established the first hydraulic civilization in the Indian mainland. So hydraulic civilization means what? It was the first empire or period or in the Indian civilization where it created or established a proper system of water management. Is that fact true? Yes, this is true. Right. I will provide more explanation later. Gupta dynasty used the water wheels for irrigation in Indian subcontinent for the first time. See, we hear about Persian wheel in medieval period. We call it rahat or arhat. But we need to understand that these technologies and techniques, which sometimes appears to be foreign, what have been used in India itself, there are many practices, techniques, and methods which Indians used, and they were part of their life, a way of life, but they would not have always recorded them. So that's why we sometimes feel everything is of foreign origin, but that is not the case. Many great technologies emerged in this country and traveled to other parts of the world from India. Right. So it was not Guptas basically, it was the Satavahanas. So pre-Gupta period or post-Mauryan period, there was a dynasty Satavahanas who ruled in Deccan from Pratishthan as it's their capital. And they were the one who used water wheels for irrigation in Indian subcontinent for the first time. Therefore, this statement becomes wrong. Carriage system that uses gravity to transport water from underground to the surface is known to have been used in Bahmani kingdom. This is the third statement. Yes, this is true. This concept was used by Bahmani kingdom and its successor states, and it became quite prevalent in Deccan. And in Deccan, you would see irrigation, reservoirs, tanks, and all other systems have been used to ensure storage of water and proper supply of water for irrigation and other purposes. Even today, many of those methods continue. Tank irrigation is still an important part in rural South India. So statement 1 and 3 are correct, while statement 2 is wrong. So the question is, which of the statements given above are correct? And the options given here are 4. And in these options, option A, that is 1 and 3 only, appears to be the correct answer. If I have to provide some more detail, I would say that it was the Mauryan period where we get reported for the first time a big drought under a powerful dynasty. There, they invested in the technologies and systems to harvest or manage water. And therefore, Mauryans were the first who constructed many dams with spillways, reservoirs and other such water works to create a proper system of water management for the purpose of agriculture and other human activities. uh, uh, if you go to South India, Pallavas, Cholas, Chalukyas, Hoshalas, then what you can say, many other dynasties are known to invest in different ways to preserve water for long-term use. And tank irrigation, reservoirs, dams, they all are being constructed during the period of various dynasties. Now we go to the next question. What is the next question? Let us see. See, question number 32nd. So let us see. There are two statements. The question is saying, consider the following statements. Statement one is there, statement 2 is there. And then there are given 4 options. Which one of the following is correct in respect of the above statement? So out of these 4 options, which applies correctly to, in the case of 2 statements, that would be the right answer. We have to identify that. So statement 1, this is related to Indus Valley civilization, this question, right? So let us read out the 2 statements. Statement 1 says, some large structures in Indus Valley civilization indicate the prevalence of some collective worship of or ritual. So from different forms of evidences, what do we obtain? That yes, the people of Indus Valley civilization were religious in nature. They majorly followed a form of religion called animism, where different objects of nature in the form of plants, trees, animals, etc. are worshipped. We find a lot of seals with images of bull and an imaginary animal called unicorn, images of people, Pashupati Shiva, Mother Goddess, all this, even snakes has been found. So yes, there was some kind of notion of religion among the Indus Valley people, and we obtained certain structures from the mound areas of or citadels, the upper towns of many cities. For example, Mohenjo-daro gives a very good example, which indicates that yes, there are some large structures in Indus Valley civilization that indicate prevalence of some collective worship or ritual. For example, there has been found Great Bath. It is somehow related to the idea of ablution and taking holy dip. And then there has been found some structures nearby, some kind of multi-pillared hall or area where some chief priest or priest would have been living. So these structures around the Great Bath put together give us a good indication that there was some kind of collective worship or ritual. That way, the statement is correct, based on whatever evidence which is available today. Statement second is saying no temples have been found from any of the Harappan sites. So this is also true. Till now, whatever excavation or what you can say exploration has been done by the historians and archaeologists, they have not found any such structure we can say is really a temple. So that idea of temples is missing, but there are structures that this what you can say indicate existence of some kind of religious practices, collective worship, or places where certain rituals were performed. So that way, statement 2 is also correct. Statement 2 is not substantiating or supporting statement 1. Therefore, which one of the following is correct in respect of the above statements? Which could be the best possible answer out of these 4 options? Which is the best option? I would say option B, where we can say both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, and statement 2 is not the correct explanation for statement 1. So for question number 32, answer becomes B. Now we go to the next question, that is question number 33. Now this question is saying that with reference to the Sangam period, so it is related to Sangam period. Sangam period overlaps with post-modern and what you can say modern period. Broadly, it covers a period of 300 BC to 300 AD, we can say. So here it is saying the question with reference to the Sangam period, Velir and Kizer refers to which of the following? So these are the terms. You will see there are many terms which have been obtained from Sangam literature with respect to various aspects of governance and administration. And the Sangam literature also mentions about 3 important ruling dynasties and different aspects related to taxation, revenue, land, agriculture, economy, trade and commerce. So there we get different kind of terms being used. So these two terms, Velir and Kizer, appears to be more related to groups of chiefs. Why? Because when we look at the polity of Sangam period, based on the information available from Sangam literature, we see that these 3 rulers of these 3 dynasties, principal dynasties mentioned in Sangam literature, that is the Cholas, Cheras, and Pandyas, they were not just proper monarchs as we hear in later periods. They can be equated more with the tribal chiefs during Aryan period, where they were not fighting for what we can say territorial context alone, or they were not fighting for majorly territorial conquest. They were fighting for plunder and destruction of the enemy's fields and cattle. And there were a hierarchy of chiefs which were there below each ruler in each dynasty. So there were different terms used to define different groups of chiefs or different levels of chiefs. So in Sangam literature, we get to know about a variety of small chieftains. The most among the local chieftains were 7 patrons, for which the word Kadayelu Vallakal has been used, right? So Velir and Kizer are the 2 terms which appear in this context of the groups of chiefs. These chiefs have been mentioned playing an important role in patronizing what you can say Tamil poets, resolving disputes between rulers because they were influential. They used to make generous donations to creative people. So you will, when I'm speaking here, you might feel like this sounds like the polity of Rigvedic period. Yes, it sounds like the same because the system was such, right? So the answer is D for question number 33. If you want more details about such terms and their elaboration, you will find in detail in written form in the document, either soft or hard copy provided to you after the discussion or during the discussion, right? Now, question number 34. So here the question reads like this. Consider the following statements. So there are 3 statements given with reference to the Deccani Sultanate. So with reference to the Deccani Sultanate in medieval India. So in Deccan, many sultanates came into existence. One of the important sultanate was Bahmani, and they were having 5 successor states. Bahmani had 5 successor states. 5 independent sultanates were established in the form of Ahmednagar, Golconda, Bijapur, Bidar, and Berar. So in that context, we have to interpret these statements and find out which of the 3 statements given here are correct. So let us see. Berar was the smallest of the 5 Deccan sultanates. As I told you, there were 5 successor states or sultanates to Bahmani kingdom when it started disintegrating in 1490. Bidar was the smallest, not Berar. And Bidar is located as a district. This place is still, this name is still existing in northern Karnataka, right? So statement 1 becomes wrong. Now, statement 2, Bijapur and Ahmednagar clashed over the possession of Naladurg. Naladurg was a fort which existed under the control of Chalukyas and other dynasties, later passed over under the control of Bahmanis also. But we nowhere hear that Bijapur and Ahmednagar were fighting for it, because Bijapur and Ahmednagar does not appears to have close boundaries where this is located. Most probably Bijapur and Bidar were fighting for it. So this statement also becomes wrong. Then the third statement is territory of the Golconda Sultanate was located in northwestern Deccan. So if you look at the map of India, and if you look at the locations of the 5 Deccani Sultanates that were formed after the disintegration of Bahmani kingdom, you will find that Vijapur is located in northern Karnataka today. It is in the and above Vijapur is Ahmednagar. Ahmednagar is also still a district in Maharashtra. It appears to be in northwestern direction, right? So Golconda is on the eastern side, close to Hyderabad of today's Hyderabad. So it would be wrong to say that territory of the Delhi Golconda Sultanate was located northwest. It should have been northeast. So this statement also becomes wrong. All the 3 statements are wrong. Which of the statements given above is correct? The answer would be none, right? After this, the 35th question is again related to medieval India. The question is asking, with reference to the medieval India, Gurabs, Galbats, Mahagiris, and Pagars are terms. So you have to know about these terms. Are used for what? So group of villages, merchant guilds, fleets of warships, executive committee. If we look at the literature during Shivaji's period or under his successors, we know that Shivaji Maharaj established a powerful navy. And in the navy, there were 2 parts. One was merchant navy ships, another was naval ships. And there these terms were used. So these terms are used in the context of naval fleets or fleets of warships. So answer becomes C. In one source, it is mentioned that the Maratha Navy was divided into 2 divisions called Shubhas, and each was having 5 Gurabs and 15 Galbats. So from that literature, we get, yes, these terms were used in the context of fleets of warships. So the most probable answer becomes C for question number 35. For more details, you can refer the handout. Now question number 36. So with reference to UNESCO's list of cultural heritage, consider the following statements. UNESCO identifies many, we can say, cultural practices like dance forms or other such activities as intangible cultural heritage. Many such, one can say, things has been, festivals or practices has been identified from India also, and they have been included in the UNESCO's list of intangible cultural heritage. So in that context, we have to consider these 3 statements and then see which of the statements given above, that is out of these 3 statements, how many of them are correct based on the options given over here. So let us see. First, Raman, a religious festival and ritual theatre of Garhwal region, was the first heritage to be included in the list from India. Is that statement correct? See, Raman was included in 2009. So it cannot become first, because for the first time, if some festivals or cultural practices were included in heritage side of UNESCO, intangible cultural heritage of UNESCO's, then it happened in 2008. And in 2008, Kudiyattam, a form of dance from Kerala, Ramalila, a form of theatre from North India, and Vedic chanting, the Vedic mantras or style of chanting them, has been included in the UNESCO's list of intangible cultural heritage in 2008. 8. So therefore, Raman is not the first. Before that, other things have also been included in UNESCO's list of intelligible cultural heritage from India. Sorry. So therefore, this statement becomes factually wrong. Second is Chow dance. Chow is some kind of mock war or martial kind of dance, which is prevalent in eastern part of the country. We hear this term frequently being used in areas like Bihar, Jharkhand, and Bengal. So, Chow dance, mainly celebrated during the Spring Festival. This is correct. Has 3 subgenres. It has 3 different forms. That is also correct. All performed with masks. So, here lies the catch. All out of these 3 subgenres of forms, all of them not performed with masks. 2 of them include wearing of mask during the performances, but there is one form where mask is not used. Therefore, this statement also becomes factually wrong. Actually, there are 3 forms: Purulia Chau. Purulia is a place in West Bengal. There it is particularly performed. Their masks are used. Another form is Saraikela Chau. It is very peculiar to Jharkhand. There also masks is used. Then there is another form of Chau, which is called Mayurbhanj Chau. So these are the 3 places where 3 different forms of Chau are performed. And Mayurbhanj Chau in Odisha does not use masks in its performances. That's why this statement becomes wrong. More details if you want, refer the handout. Now, the third statement. Mijabu or Mijav is the major musical instrument used in the Kodiyattam, performing arts of Kerala by Ambalwasi Nambiar community. Is it correct? So, I would say statement 3 is correct. The Ambalwasi Nambiar community women play what you can say female roles, and they use this particular instrument. It is a kind of drum made from copper, mijabu, in the Kodiyattam dance form and other such performing arts of Kerala. So statement 3 is correct, while first 2 statements are wrong. For question number 36, therefore, answer should be B, 3 only. Which of the above statements given above is correct? 3 only. That is B, right? Now, we go to the next question, 37 question. This is a question based on new pattern, which has been introduced during the 2024 prelims question paper by the UPSC. So where there are 3 main columns presented to you and different rows are given, and you have to identify that in the given rows whether the information provided is correctly matched or not. Based on the options given below, you have to identify the correct option answer. So consider the following information. What is the information? A box is given, and there are 4 columns in which, so 4 rows in which information is given about. In first column is mentioned different forms of puppetry: Kundei, Pavakutu, Tholu, Bumbalatta, Yampuri. In the next column, their characteristics is mentioned. You have to see whether they are correctly matched or not. Then the states in which these puppetry forms are popular, that is to be seen: Maharashtra, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, and Bihar. So the question is, in which of the above rows is the information correctly matched? Let us see. So if we look at the first one, Kundei, string puppet, Maharashtra. See, Kundei is a form of puppetry where string puppets are used. This is correct, but this is not used. This is not the puppetry form of Maharashtra. It belongs to Odisha. So one part of this information in 3 columns is wrong. So this becomes wrong. Now, in the second row, the first row is not, the information given in first row in all the 3 columns is not correct. Therefore, it becomes wrong. In second row, Pavakattu is a form of puppetry. That's true. It is a form of, this is the name used for glow puppets found in, and this is very popular in Kerala. That's true. So second column is correct. Now third one. Tholu Bomalatta. Tholu Bomalatta is a form of puppetry, that's true. But is it stick puppetry? No. Here, rods or sticks are not used. It is a form of shadow puppetry, where different puppets are played behind a screen to narrate a story. So this becomes wrong and it belongs to Andhra Pradesh. That is correct. So one part he is wrong here also. So the third row is also not providing the right information in all the three columns. Yampuri is a form of puppetry. Yes. These are forms of rod puppet found in Bihar. So this is correct. So what we can say, in which of the above rows is the information correctly matched? We would say 2 and 4. Therefore, answer becomes C for question number 37. Now, we go to the 38th question. Again, a question has been given to you where you have to consider the following statements. There are two statements given, and the question relates to modern Indian history, Yotiwari system, and you have to identify out of these four options that which is the correct answer. So let us see. Statement 1. Under the Ryotwari settlement, tax was being collected directly from the villages rather than from the individual peasants. This statement is correct. As you know, that under the British rule, in different parts of British India, three main systems of land revenue collection were introduced. That was Zamindari system, Mahalwari system, and Ryotwari system. In Deccan and South India, Ryotwari system was the major system. Alexander Reading is said to be the first to introduce it, and it was what you can say officially brought into prevalence by Thomas. There was one officer, Thomas Munro. He served as governor of Madras Presidency in 1822. He widely introduced it. So here it was identified on the basis of studying the previous records that traditionally the farmer or the peasant was identified as the owner by the state of the land, and revenue was directly collected from the peasant or the villages. So the same system in a evolved form was used in South India by the British, and therefore this statement is correct. Statement 2. The system had influence of Scottish Enlightenment. Thomas Munro himself was an Scottish officer and who believed in the principle of what you can say primacy of agriculture, and these people celebrated the importance of the farmer, and that's why they believed that Ryotwari settlement is best suited for South India, and they introduced it there. So this statement 2 is also correct, and it is in a way explaining or supporting statement 1. Therefore, answer becomes A. Why? Because both the statement 1 and statement appears to be correct, and statement 2 is the a very valid or correct explanation for statement 1. After this, we go to the next question, 39th question. Here again, you have a question with in a repeat, which of same type as we have discussed earlier, where you have been given rows and columns, and you have to see in that in the different rows the information is correctly matched in different columns or not. So let us see. So what is the information provided? There are three main columns, three main rows in which you have been given in one column the names of social reformers during the British India. Gopal Hari Deshmukh, he was also popularly called Lokhetwadi due to the paper which he published. Bala Shastri Jambekar, Gopal Ganesh Agarkar. Then literary works associated with them has been mentioned. We have to see whether they are correctly matched or associated with them or not. Prabhakar, Hitechu, Sudharak. They appears to be papers or journals which they published or edited, right? Then On in the third column are mentioned the demands and motives expressed by these reformers in these literary works or papers or journals. So, Indian representation in the British Parliament was the demand or motive of Prabhakar or not, as shown by or as mentioned, expressed by Lokhitvadi. Hitechu is about widow remarriage and instilling scientific approach or not. Let us see. And then was Sudharak against untouchability in the caste system under Gopal Ganesh Agarkar. Let us see. See, if we look at uh, row 1, Gopal Hari Deshmukh published many papers. One of them was Lokhitvadi, due to which he also became popular as Lokhitvadi. Another was Prabhakar. And where in Prabhakar, he definitely demanded from the British government that Indians should get representation in the British Parliament. So this is correct. Balashastri Jambekar also was associated with the literary works, but Hitechu is not one such. Hitechu was a weekly journal which was published by Gopal Hari Deshmukh only, right? So this becomes wrong. This is not related to Bal Shastri Jambekar. That is, Bal Shastri Jambekar demanded widow remarriage and instilled and demanded development of scientific approach or temperament among Indian people. That is also true. This he did through his paper Darpan, not Hitechu. So this becomes wrong. Second row is not having information correctly matched in all the three columns. Then the third one, Gopal Ganesh Agarkar published Sudharak, where he talked against untouchability and the caste system. That is true. So we can say out of the above three rows, information has been correctly matched in 1 and 3. So answer becomes D for question number 39. Now, 40th question. In the 40th question, this is related to modern Indian history again. So here the question is with reference to the Swarajists. You can say the Swarajists or the Swaraj party, whatever you want to read like. Consider the following statements. So in the context of the Swarajists or the Swaraj party, you have been given two statements and you have to find out which of the statements given above is correct based on the four options. So first, it was formed by C.R. Das, Chittaranjan Das and Motilal Nehru due to differences over the council entry during the Gaya session of Congress. This is true. See, what is the context? In 1922 December, Congress session was organized at Gaya and it was presided over by C.R. Das. C.R. Das was the president of the Congress, and here this was debated that now non-cooperation movement has been withdrawn by Gandhiji, whether Congress should continue with the spirit or activities related to non-cooperation minus mass movement, or should it be contesting elections and participating in the councils which will be formed after the elections that were announced to be conducted in November 1923 on the basis of Government of India Act 1919. This issue was debated during the session and there two groups were formed within the Congress. One group favored entry into the councils, provincial as well as central legislative councils. Another group was against it. The group that favored entry into the councils gave the argument that if we do not go there, the reactionary elements like zamindars, communalists, these people will get into the councils and they will cooperate and support the British, and that will not solve any purpose. Rather, the members of the Congress should contest elections, get into the councils, and do not cooperate with the government to ensure that Government of India Act of 1919 does not become effective. Why? Because that was not what they were demanding. They demanded self-government. So these people formed a party within the Congress called Swaraj Party, where the main goal would be Swaraj or self-rule. And the other group, this group was having two important supporters or leaders, C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru. The other group, these people were called pro-changers. The other group was called no-changers, which included Rajgopalachari, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. They said we will not get into the councils, rather we will continue with other forms of work that were mentioned in non-cooperation program during the non-cooperation movement, like removal of untouchability, going to the countryside and increasing the Congress membership, working for the promotion of Khadi. When the tension increased, Gandhiji intervened. And he decided to allow the pro-changers to continue in the to contest the elections. Therefore, C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru within the Congress formed this Swaraj party. They contested elections and came out with flying colors. Right. So this is true. Second statement is it advocated council entry as a means for the gradual transformation of colonial rule. This is wrong. The Swarajists advocated Swaraj, self-rule, and they were not in favor of this. They would keep on demanding self-rule and those demands that were in favor of Indians. So this appears to be factually wrong. So answer would be, which of the statements given above are correct? We would say one only. A is the answer for question number 40. Now we go to the 86th question. See, with reference to the Nehru report, consider the following statements. 3 statements are given. We have to identify which of the statements given above are correct. It was the first major attempt by the Indians to draft a constitutional framework for the British India and princely states in colonial India. See, this statement appears to be correct, but there is a flaw. This Nehru report drafted a constitutional framework for British India. It did talk about some kind of federal concept, but it did not exclusively focus on princely states. So therefore, the statement does not appear to be fully correct. Yes, this report was a memorandum by all parties conference in British India to appeal for dominion status, and dominion status was one of its demands, joint electorate and linguistic provinces. That's true. Actually, many suggestions were given in the Nehru report by, this was accepted by most of the parties. Only League objected to the idea of joint electorate. It wanted separate electorate. And the all parties conference headed by Motilal Nehru also had Tej Bahadur Sapru and D.R. Pradhan as its member. This is true. There were many members. This is true. There were many members representing different sections. So, for example, Tej Bahadur Sapru was representing liberal sections. G.R. Pradhan was representing the working class or leftist kind of elements. Right. So, statement 2 and 3 are correct. C is the answer. 1 is wrong for question number 86. For more details, you can refer the handout. Now, in the 87th question, with reference to the working class movements, consider the following events in the history of India. So, Narayan Meghaji Lokhande set up the Bombay Mill and Mill Hands Association. Is it correct? This is correct. He did so in 1890. He is the person who also, we can say, started a paper for workers' rights called Deen Bandhu in 1880, right? Sasipada Banerjee started a working men's club and newspaper, Bharat Shramjeevi. Yes, this is true. This happened in 1870. First strike by the Great Indian Peninsular Railways took place. The workers striked when? In 1899. So what is the question? What is the correct chronological order of the above events starting from the earliest time? So obviously the statement and the answer would be 213 chronologically. A is the answer for question number 87. As far as question number 88 is considered, there are 2 statements given, and we have to see which of the statements given above is correct. See, Bhagat Singh. First statement is saying Bhagat Singh defined socialism scientifically as abolition of capitalism and class domination, and fully accepted Marxism and the class approach to society. He was true. This is true. And he adopted a very secular approach in his life. This statement is correct. And second statement is Naujawan Bharat Sabha. He formed it at Lahore, that is true, to motivate the students towards the nationalist and revolutionary ideology. He also tried to target the workers in Punjab. And this body was formed in 1926. So it was founded by Bhagat Singh with the main aim of inculcating nationalist and revolutionary ideologies among the young students and workers of Punjab. That's true. So both the statements are correct. So answer would be C for question number 88. Now, in the case of 89th question, with reference to the local government administration in colonial India, consider the following statements. So the idea of local government or decentralization of power was first became popular during the viceroyalty of Lord Ripon, who is also said to be the father of local government in India, and he was the viceroy from 1880 to 1884. He also said to be sometimes liberator of the press, as he removed or withdrew the Vernacular Press Act 1878. So Lord Ripon is called father of local self-government in India, correct. The Simon Commission suggested increasing provincial control over local bodies for efficient administration. In its report, which is submitted in 1933, yes, it said that because it felt that there was lack of efficiency in local bodies, therefore provincial government control should be established. Decentralization was not working in their favor. Third, the Indian Council Act of 1892 allowed for the vesting of legislative power to the presidencies of Bombay and Madras. Means Bombay and Madras will have their own lawmaking powers. This is true in the context of the Act of 1861, not 1892, right? So this becomes factually wrong. So statement 1 and 2 are correct. Third is not. So answer, which of the statements given above is are correct, would become A, 1 and 2 only. As far as the last question related to history section in AIPMT 3 is concerned, it is the 90th question, where it is asked, mobilization of masses carried out through Prabhat Feris, Vanar Senas, Manjari Senas, secret patrikas, and magical lantern shows is related to which of these movements? So you might be confused. Why? Because Prabhat Feris, Vanar Senas, and Manjari Senas we had in the case of Swadeshi movement also. But these three things plus secret patrikas and magic lanterns were some practices which became very popular, and Gandhiji gave a call to the people. Then young boys and girls also got involved, and various messages were floated to avoid certain laws through secret patrikas. That happened during civil disobedience movement that occurred between 1930 to 34. So answer is B for question number 90. After me, the next section will continue for the discussion. Thank you so much.
So today now we are going to discuss about the science and technology questions that were asked in the AIPMT 3. So there are 10 questions from the science and technology section. Let us go through each question one by one. All right. So the first question is related to next generation technology. This particular question is based on next generation sequencing basically. Okay, next generation sequencing. So you might have heard about DNA sequencing, RNA sequencing, etc. So during COVID-19 time, right? So genome sequencing or gene sequencing has been in news. And before that also, you might have heard about Human Genome Project, right? IndiGen project. So a lot of projects you might have heard about. So this is an added thing. This is, let's say, next generation sequencing is an advancement over the existing type of or existing forms of DNA sequencing or RNA sequencing. So related to that, we have this question. Only 2 statements are given. We will read this question and identify which statements are correct. All right. So the first statement says that next generation sequencing technology allows for sequencing of millions of DNA fragments simultaneously. All right. So this statement is right because next generation sequencing allows, let's say, millions of sequencing to happen at the same time. If we compare it with the traditional sequencing method, where only one gene or one DNA sequence can be sequenced in one time, let's say at a particular point of time. So that was known as Sanger sequencing. But this one, I mean, like, next generation sequencing is an advancement where millions of sequences, DNA can be sequenced at the same time. Okay. Second statement, it says one of the limitation of next generation sequencing is that it cannot detect structural variations in genomics. This statement is wrong because next generation sequencing can also, right? It can also detect structural variations in genomics. Okay, so the first statement is right related to this question. Okay, so if you want to learn more about gene sequencing or DNA sequencing, etc., so you can attend our MIGP classes or JS Foundation classes where we have discussed these topics in detail. Now with this, let us quickly move to the next question. This question is again very much important. What this question is all about, it says with reference to quantum computing. What? We are talking about quantum computing. So what is quantum computing? Basically, quantum computing is an advanced form of computing, right? So we have earlier seen normal computers, the computers that we use. So these computers work on binary digits, which are known as bits, 0 and 1. But when we talk about quantum computers, they operate on qubits, quantum bits. Okay, so quantum bits are different from bits. Okay, and so like in quantum mechanics, or if we talk about quantum computing, they do have certain principles. For example, principle of superposition, principle of entanglement, right, that allows for multiple operations to happen at the same time, right? So quantum superposition is one of the principle, quantum entanglement is another principle. So we discussed about it in detail in our previous classes, right? So here we are just going to understand about this particular question. Okay, so what it says that quantum cryptography provides a method for secure communication based solely on classical computing principles. This statement is wrong. When we talk about quantum cryptography, cryptography is used for securing the communication, for securing the information which is being transmitted from one part to the another part. Okay, so to secure the communication, we use cryptography. So quantum cryptography utilizes quantum mechanics. It utilizes principles of quantum computing. It does not utilize, let's say, classical computing principles. It does not solely rely on classical computing principles. It relies on quantum mechanics or quantum computing principles. So that's why first statement is wrong. Second statement, it says Google's Willow chip can perform computations in just 5 minutes that the most advanced supercomputers would take 10 septillion years to achieve. This statement is right. Okay, so basically Google has announced that it has developed a chip which is known as Google's Willow chip. And what this chip can do, this chip can perform operations in 5 minutes that would take normal, not normal, I mean like, the top level supercomputers of the world, 10 septillion years. What is 10 septillion years? It means 10 into 10 raised to power 24 years. That many years would be taken by a supercomputer. The fastest supercomputer in the world will take this much time to do the computation that will be done by quantum chip Google's Willow, right, in 5 minutes. You see how fast the computations are going to become. And this quantum computing is more advanced and it will be able to, let's say, like understand the natural phenomena quickly. And this is a revolutionary technology, I would say. So far, quantum technology has been largely theoretical and research and development oriented, but Google has already launched this particular thing, Google's Willow chip, which is a quantum computing chip. Okay, this is the thing. And quantum entanglement is a phenomena that allows qubits to be correlated regardless of distance. This statement is also right. So what do we mean by quantum entanglement? It means, let's consider there are two qubits. Let's say like we have qubit 1 and we have qubit 2. Irrespective of the distance between these two qubits, okay, if these two qubits are entangled, okay, if these two qubits are entangled, what will happen? If you determine the state of one qubit, state means in quantum computing, same qubit can have 0 or 1 state at the same time. It can have either 0 or 1. If you determine the state of this particular qubit, let's consider its state is 1. Then automatically the state of the other qubit will be determined if they are quantum entangled, no matter what is the distance between these two qubits. This is known as principle of entanglement in quantum computing. Okay, so third statement is also right. This makes second and third statement to be right. It means option B is the right answer. What is the right answer? Option B means only 2 is right answer. So with this, now let us quickly move to the next question. What is this question all about? This is question number 53. All right, so what it says, consider the following statements regarding BioE3, biotechnology for economy, environment and employment policy. So recently Government of India has announced this particular policy. It is known as BioE3 policy. The full form of this policy is biotechnology for economy, environment and employment. Okay, so biotechnology will be helpful, let's say like, kind of for boosting the economy. It will be utilized for making the environment safer. I mean like, so environmental friendly alternatives will be developed, and also it will lead to the generation of employment. So related to this particular policy, they have asked this question. So 3 statements are there. We will go through all the 3 statements and we will identify which statements are correct. So first statement, it says it aims to foster high performance biomanufacturing. This statement is right. So one of the core tenets, one of the core let's say objective of the BioE3 policy is that they want to boost high performance biomanufacturing. Okay, so that's why they're building bio hubs, okay, across the country in tier 1 cities, tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, etc. Okay, so that high level biomanufacturing can happen. Second, it aims to create employment opportunities primarily in metropolitan cities. This statement is wrong because of this particular part of the sentence, which says that it aims to foster, it aims to boost employment or create employment only in metropolitan cities. This is not right, because like, BioE3 policy wants to create employment across the country, whether it is tier 2 city or tier 3 city or tier 1 city, everywhere they want to boost employment. So that's why second statement is wrong. Third statement says the policy aligns with the national goals such as achieving net zero carbon emission. So basically what happens, the BioE3 policy has so many national goals that it is going to foster to. Okay, so net zero carbon emission, as you know, that India has showed intention that like, we want to become a carbon neutral or net zero carbon emitter by the year 2070. So this BioE3 policy is going to help the country to achieve that target, because like we are focusing on manufacturing those biotechnological products that are going to be environmentally friendly. Okay, so like, this particular policy will help in creating biotechnological products that are going to be environmentally friendly. That's why third statement is also right. So first and third means option B is the right answer. Only 2. Okay, only 2. Option B is the right answer. So now with this, let us move to the third question, fourth question. So this question is very, very important. So it talks about artificial neural networks. And as you know, that this year artificial intelligence and artificial neural networks are very, very important. Why they are important? They're important for multiple purposes. One of the important thing is that this year the Nobel Prize in Physics has been awarded, right, to those people who have contributed to the development of artificial intelligence. These are the people who have developed artificial neural network. And also if I talk about Nobel Prize in Chemistry, it has been awarded for computational protein design, okay, computational protein design and let's say protein structure creation and all. So like those people have created a software project which is known as AlphaFold 2, which helps in predicting the protein things. So that's an artificial intelligence enabled system, AI system basically, okay. So that's why in the upcoming UPSC Prelims exam, artificial intelligence is going to dominate from the science and technology section, okay? So you need to understand about artificial neural networks and artificial intelligence. So first statement says, artificial neural networks are used in medical diagnostics, aiding in early detection of cancer. See, artificial neural networks are the foundations of artificial intelligence systems. And you know that artificial intelligence can be applied in any field. It can be applied in automation, in automotive industry. It can be applied in medicine also, medical field. For example, MRI, CT scans, etc. So these things, these MRI, CT scans can be scanned by a computer system, and then AI can detect whether a person has cancer or not, whether a person is affected by any other ailment or not, okay? So ANN means artificial neural networks are the bedrock using which we create artificial intelligence system. I mean, like ANNs are part of machine learning. Then let's say artificial intelligence systems are created, they can have their role in medical diagnostics, which will help in the early detection of cancer. I mean, like, this is just one specific application, but artificial intelligence itself can have application in many domains, okay? So that's why this is correct. Second, it says back propagation. So you might have heard about by now that like artificial intelligence systems or machine learning is done through multiple methods. There are different methods: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and within them like we have forward propagation and we have back propagation. Forward propagation is for training the data. Back propagation is for taking the feedback and reducing the error, okay? So back propagation is used in training artificial neural networks by mimicking the error, by minimizing the error through gradient descent, okay? So I mean, like, gradient descent is a method of back propagation, and this method is utilized to minimize or reduce the error, okay, in AI systems. And artificial neural networks has been successfully applied in predicting stock market trends. I mean, like, one of the application can be in stock market itself. I mean, like, so you might be knowing that many people trade in stock market. They trade in futures and options. I mean, like, they are known as derivatives. And there are intraday traders also. So these people, what they do is like, they invest huge amount of money. They trade huge amount of money. And they just, let's say, like, see what is the market trend, whether the market is going to go up or it's going to go down. And they apply huge amount of money. Okay, so there is a likelihood that people may earn a huge profit, or they may lose huge amount of money also. So both are possible. So third is also an application of artificial neural network. Basically, so here we are talking about applications of artificial intelligence, and artificial neural networks are bedrock of it, okay? So first, second and third, all three are correct answer, okay? All three are correct statements. So correct answer is option C, all three. Now with this, we will move to the next question, question number 55. What is this question all about? What it says, consider the following statements regarding 5G technology. Okay, which technology are we talking about? 5G technology, okay? And why 5G technology is important for this year's prelims? Because India has adopted 5G technology, and 5G is percolating. It is a, let's say, like, mobile Wi-Fi technology basically. So 5G technology will help us to receive data at a faster rate, and the latency is low. What do we mean by latency? Latency is the time that your device takes to connect with the internet. Okay, that's the thing. So latency is going to go down, and which is going to be helpful in real time transfer of data, right? Near real time transfer of data. So we are going to go through all the three statements, and we will identify which statements are correct, which statements are incorrect. And finally, we need to identify the correct answer, okay? So 5G technology offers peak theoretical data speeds of up to 20 Gbps, 20 GB per second, okay? Gigabyte per second, okay? And significantly lower latency compared to 4G. This statement is right, okay? 4G has kind of peak speed of up to 1 Gbps, 1 GB per second, right? But 5G has up to 20 GB per second. I mean, like, this is theoretical value. I mean, practically it may go, let's say like, little less also, about 10 Gbps, 12 Gbps. It depends on different types of, let's say like, like products on which 5G is enabled, like that. So it varies from device to device. It supports a massive number of connected devices simultaneously, making it suitable for Internet of Things. This statement is also right. Third statement, the National Digital Communications Policy. Which policy? The National Digital Communications Policy promotes the deployment and adoption of 5G in India. Okay. This statement is also right. All the three statements are correct. Correct answer is option C. All three. Okay. Option C, all three is correct for this particular question. Now with this, we will move to the next question. So this question is question number 56. We will go through this question. We will learn about it, what it says. With reference to directed energy weapons, consider the following statements. So this particular question is important under defense technology. Okay. So what is directed energy weapons? Basically, to understand this, let us understand one thing. If you have a gun, if you have a bullet, okay, so using that gun, if you fire, that bullet is going to go, it's going to hit a person, then it's going to impart energy in that person. Okay, so like you are using conventional munitions basically. But in directed energy weapons, direct energy is transferred. Okay, instead of, let's say like, some material to be transferred, direct energy is transferred. It also has very significant impact on the targeted object or targeted person, right? So it may incapacitate the target, or it may damage the target, it may destroy the target. Okay, so we are talking about directed energy weapons. For example, laser lights. You might have seen in movies. I mean, like, Krish movie, I think, like, so in one of the movie, so the actor goes and there are a lot of lasers that are coming. So if laser touches body of a person, that kind of laser, high energy laser, so that person will be, destroyed then and there. It's like that. So it is a kind of directed energy weapon. So it says directed energy weapons are mainly for long range use, making them less effective against lower threats like drones and missiles. This statement is wrong because directed energy weapons are used for both the purposes, for slower moving objects also and for fast moving objects as well. For example, if drones are coming towards your territory, you may use directed energy weapon to incapacitate or destroy that drone. Okay, so drone missiles, they are targeted using directed energy weapons. So that's why statement 1 is incorrect. Now if we talk about second statement, okay, if we read the second statement, what it says, their advantages include lower logistical demands and potentially reduced cost compared to traditional munitions. This statement is right. Okay, so their advantages is we need lower logistics to operate them, right? And cost is also very effective to operate directed energy weapons. So only second statement is correct. Okay, only second statement is correct related to this. So with this, we will now move to the next question. Okay, so let us read this particular question. So what this question says, this question is related to space technology. Okay, so we are going to read this question. The Kármán line, okay, the Kármán line is located at an altitude of 100 kilometers above the sea level. What do we mean by Kármán line? Basically, let's consider this is Earth and this is a kind of limit beyond which we have outer space. Beyond which we have outer space. So this Kármán line is a boundary. Okay, this particular line is a boundary between the Earth's atmosphere and the outer space. Okay, so it is saying that the Kármán line is located at an altitude of 100 kilometers above the sea level. This statement is right. Okay, so mostly, NASA and various other kind of international bodies, they have accepted that this particular boundary between Earth and outer space is at an altitude of about 100 kilometers from above the sea level. But somewhere It is also mentioned that it is up to 80 kilometers, but like most accepted is 100 kilometers. Second, SpaceX. SpaceX is a name of a private company. Okay, it's a private company owned by Elon Musk. All of you know. SpaceX's Crew Dragon spacecraft was the first commercial spacecraft to successfully transport astronauts to the International Space Station in 2020. This statement is also right. Okay, first statement is right, second statement is right. Means the SpaceX's Crew Dragon spacecraft, they were the first commercial spacecraft to successfully transport astronauts to the International Space Station. We know what is International Space Station. Basically, International Space Station is a habitable space in the outer space, basically at about 400 kilometers above the surface of Earth. So it is in low Earth orbit where astronauts can go, they can reside, they can come back. They generally go there to do microgravity experiments. So both these statements 1 and 2 are correct in this particular question. Now let us move to the next question. What is this question all about? This is question number 58. Okay. So this question is related to Bharat Jan project. What is the name of the project? It is Bharat Jan project. So we'll understand what is this project all about. It says consider the following statements about Bharat Jan project. It says it is the only government funded multimodal large language model in the world. This statement is right. See, you know about various large language models that are available. One of the prominent large language model is of OpenAI, ChatGPT. Okay, so it's a large language model, but ChatGPT is made by a private person. I mean, like, you know, it is not a government funded project. And similarly, various other AI projects that you see, they are privately owned. Okay, they are owned by an individual or a company like that. But Government of India thought that, like, you know, why to use everything in English? We can develop our own large language model for Indian people. And in India, we speak many languages, right? So Bharat Jan is a project which is funded by the Government of India. And this project will have multiple languages supported. Okay, people can search things in their own language. They will get answer in their own language. So it is going to be a multimodal large language model. Multimodal, what do we mean by multimodal? It generally means that, like, you know, it is going to accept text input, it's going to accept image based input, it's going to accept speech input, etc. So it is kind of, let's say, multimodal large language model. Now, its primary objective is to reduce India's reliance on foreign technologies by creating foundation AI models tailored specifically for India. This statement is also right. Both these statements are correct. So correct answer is option C. Okay, option C. If you think that I'm going too fast, you can just, like, let's say, pause and read the question first, and then you let's say see the explanation. Or if you have already attempted the test paper, so you already know the question. Okay. Now we have another question, question number 59. Consider the following statements. So we have two statements over here, and this question is based on digital twin. What? Digital twin. So before we go ahead and discuss digital twin, what is digital twin? Let us understand. Many of you may have played multiple video games on mobile. So one of the game that I remember is Mario or Contra, etc. So in Mario, what used to be there was a player, I mean, like, you know, who used to run on the screen, and whenever there was a kind of let's say, like, you know, there was a kind of obstacle, it used to jump over that obstacle. You might have seen. Okay, so this is a character, I mean, like, that you can control using your mouse. So what you make it jump, okay, whenever there is an obstacle. So that was a Mario game. So it's kind of the object that you see, it's a digital representation of a physical object. Okay, digital representation of a physical object. So basically, people across the world, they are creating digital twins. I mean, like, if you talk about Amazon has its warehouses. They have various manufacturing facilities where people are less, machines, automated machines are more. So there are robots. What robots do, I mean, like, you know, they see, they move and they see if there is an object. So they kind of analyze those objects, okay, and then they kind of analyze what is the level of stock that is available. If there is any kind of stock which is empty, so they will report it, similar to a human being, and those robots operate like human beings and all. So digital twin basically is a virtual representation of real world entity. So it happens in a computer system. So digital twin is a virtual representation of a real world entity. Okay, this statement is right. Second statement, the Sangam Digital Twin Initiative aims to create digital representation of urban infrastructure in India. This statement is also right. Both these statements are correct. Correct answer is option C. Okay, option C. That's the thing. Now let us talk about another question. This is question number 60. What it says, with reference to Bharatiya Antariksh Station. You might have heard about this Bharatiya Antariksh Station. So basically, Government of India is planning to have its own space station similar to International Space Station. We know presently International Space Station is operating. It's about to, it's about to be decommissioned. And that project is a collaboration of various space agencies. NASA is there, right, of USA, Canadian Space Agency is there, Japanese, like JAXA is there, which is a Japanese, aerospace exploration agency. Roscosmos is there, Russian Space Agency, European Space Agency is there. Many leading space agencies are part of the International Space Station. And Indian government plans to have its own space station, which is Bharatiya Antariksh Station. They have named it that way, which is Indian Space Station. So this question is related to that. First statement says it is expected to be fully operational by 2035 with its first module planned for launch in 2028. This statement is right, absolutely right. If you have read about it, you know, right? It will enable India to conduct long duration human spaceflight missions in low Earth orbit and support various scientific research initiatives, right? So if India, right, let's consider this is Earth, and here somewhere, let's say we have India. So if India has its own space station, it's going to send people who are going to do microgravity experiments in low Earth orbit, basically in the Bharatiya Antariksh Station, and they're going to come back. So they can stay longer also. As of now, we have planned a human spaceflight mission, which is known as Gaganyaan mission. And that Gaganyaan mission is planned for a 3-day duration. People are going to go, they're going to stay, and they're going to come back within 3 days. But once this Bharatiya Antariksh Station is operational, we will be able to keep human beings, Indians, in the Bharatiya Antariksh Station for long. They will do scientific research over there and they will come back. So correct answer is option C, both 1 and 2. All right. So that's all from my side from the science and technology section. And after this, we have, let's say, another discussion of environment and ecology by Lakshmikant Jaibhe sir. He's going to come over here. Thank you so much everyone for attending today's discussion, this portion of the discussion. Stay tuned. Lakshmi sir is going to come and he's going to take his part of the discussion. Thank you.